Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for those that are here live as well as those that are tuning in to the broadcast. I'm really excited to spend the next 30 minutes to be able to share how we need to be able to redefine digital experience in this modern world. I'm Joe Vaccaro, and I lead the product organization at ThousandEyes, and I've been with ThousandEyes in over 5 years. And, as we go back even beyond that period of time, I believe that there's really kind of four fundamental truths that are really reshaping our world today. As we look at where our workloads are running and transitioning from the cloud, from the data center into the cloud, as we look at our application stacks and how they're shifting from an on-premises architecture to a SaaS and API-driven world, or our offices that are being replaced from our home in that branch of one, as well our networks in that how they're being redefined through an internet-centric architecture. What's common across all four of these is that they fundamentally are outside of your control. You don't own the cloud that you run on. You don't own the SaaS applications that you depend upon. You don't own the home and the home network that your employees use on a daily basis. And obviously, you don't own the internet, which is at the core foundation of how we connect our businesses, employees, and users. But if you don't own them, but you rely upon them, then you need to fundamentally take a different approach to how you gain the visibility to them. In this problem statement is really at the heart of how we think about we need to redefine that network assurance. How do you be able to see, understand, and improve every digital experience that you rely upon so that you can be able to then light that path from every user, no matter where they are, to any application and the entire network path along the way. And this problem statement has really been at the heart of how ThousandEyes has been able to tackle the market, serving customers around the world and giving them that empowerment to be able to see, understand, and improve those digital experiences. As we look at this vision, what is a network today? A network is really transformed from something that was really between a simple user and an application to now a myriad of different dependencies, both known and unknown. As we think about delivering that digital experience and the reliance on DNS, reliance on CDN networks and DDoS mitigations and SaaS applications and services and cloud providers, this world is only getting more and more complex for how we deliver it. Now, if you don't own the digital experience, how do you be able to assure it? That's really at the heart of how we think about ThousandEyes in this vision. To ensure this seamless digital connectivity between the home, across the wireless LAN and WAN, across your data center and service provider, through the internet, and ultimately to the application. Now, how do we do that? At the fundamental heart of what we want to talk about today and share with you some of these core innovations. It's all about, first, delivering upon you that broad data collection, giving you that ubiquitous visibility. Second, the proactive intelligence to be able to identify and isolate issues quickly, and then ultimately turning those intelligence into action. Now, I could share PowerPoint all day long, but let's go ahead and take a look at how ThousandEyes is in action. First off, I want to kind of share with you a demo of Internet Insights. And Internet Insights gives you the broadest view in terms of the real-time health of the internet. Powered by billions of points of measurement from all the customers leveraging the ThousandEyes platform, you're able to answer a very simple question. Is it just me that's experiencing this outage that is impacting my digital experience? Through those points of presence, we're able to detect in real time issues impacting both network providers as well as application providers, ensuring that you're not relying upon the status pages to know the real-time state of the key providers that you rely upon. As those here in the room or those dialing in online, I encourage you to just go to thousandeyes.com/outages. You can go ahead and grab that on your phone right now, or if you're dialing in remotely, just pull up a browser and see firsthand what the power of ThousandEyes Internet Insights provides to you. Now, as we look and go from the macro view and the real-time health of the internet, we know that individual end-user experience is also equally important for how we power our digital workforce. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ThousandEyes end-user monitoring in action. And as we play this demonstration, I'm just going to kind of highlight what we're seeing. We're looking at an individual user complaining about experience accessing GitHub. We hear that all the time. This application is not performing as expected. Now, as we know, that connectivity is really spanning a variety of different segments, from the individual device performance to the wireless performance to the internet performance, or ultimately to the application performance. So how do you solve that problem? Well, with Thousand Eyes and Thousand Eyes end user monitoring, having a vantage point installed on the individual user's device allows you to be able to see that entire path, identifying problems no matter where they reside along that digital supply chain. This is just the power in two brief examples of what we mean by redefining the network assurance. Now, as we think about this story in these examples, one of the best ways to be able to kind of hear firsthand is actually to hear from one of your own peers in their story for how they're redefining network assurance. And so, please join me in welcoming Justin McIntosh from the stage and to have a quick chat. So, Justin. Great. Justin, as I said, hearing firsthand from you and in your journey from Energy Queensland is just a great opportunity to kind of share your perspective. And so maybe you just start by telling us a little bit about Energy Queensland.
Absolutely. So a little bit about us. Energy Queensland is a group of electricity companies, 100% owned by the Queensland State Government. So we provide electricity to over 2.3 million customers throughout Queensland through our poles and wires companies, which are Ergon and Energex, if everyone's heard of those. We have a retail division with over 700,000 customers selling electricity throughout Queensland, and those are all supported by an energy services company named Eureka, providing a number of products and services to support our business as well as external customers. Sorry,
no,
get the last
going.
bit of the brochure out. So it's an exciting time for us at Energy Queensland. You're all hearing about sustainability and renewables through some of the things today and in general. So we're a major player in the Queensland Government's plans for clean energy and renewables through what they're calling the Queensland Energy and Jobs Plan. So the short version of that is it's a $36 billion plan to move Queensland to 70% renewables by 2032, got the numbers right, which includes things like redesigning our network for an electric life, and several renewable projects, including pumped hydro, grid-scale batteries, and of course the jobs and workforce to support it.
That's a pretty impressive vision and ultimately responsibility as a business. And you've really grown up at Energy Queensland. Can you just maybe talk about your journey through Energy Queensland and maybe what you're responsible for on a day-to-day basis now?
100%. So I started with Energy Queensland in 2008 as a contractor in the desktop support team. So always enjoyed IT, big part of my life, a nerd outside of work. I guess I'm not so much a professional nerd now, but I lived that through my team. So I was very lucky to progress through a number of different roles to keep it exciting, into server administration, a bit of project management, some tech lead, and then stepping into leadership about 4 years ago. So my role currently, I look after 4 foundational platforms within the Energy Queensland digital division. So mobility and collaboration, which is the team that Thousand Eyes sits in, end user computing, our digital data networks, which is all the site connectivity, the LANs, the WANs, the Wi-Fi and the Meraki. And in my spare time, I also look after the occupancy of our 2 Tier 3 data centres in regional Queensland.
And so when you think about the overall purpose of Energy Queensland, it makes a lot of sense. How do you connect your technology vision to the business purpose?
100%. So I would say we're very lucky as a digital division or an IT department that there's a very obvious link between what we do to what the business does. So the mission of Energy Queensland is we energise Queensland communities. So what that means to the business is we keep the lights on, we roll trucks, we maintain the network, we restore it when there's problems and ensure that reliability. What does that mean for us in digital, and how does that affect our philosophy? We're really an enabler for the business. So a lot of, at its core, our technology roadmap's about simplification of tools, alignment with strategic vendors, looking for value, single panes of glass, keeping it simple, really, as simple as it can be digital in 2023.
You think about that simple statement of energizing the people of Queensland, and then your responsibility of powering the network that helps to energize those people. When that means that downtime is even more impactful to you. What are some of the challenges that you're facing that when you have a network event and ultimately you have an outage or a degradation of experience?
Great. So some of the challenges that I'll say are unique to us, but are probably not. We are spread out over the whole state of Queensland, 180 odd sites ranging from Brisbane Metro, our big offices and regional centres, to a depot with 5 people. So how those sites are connected can range from, some good old fibre backhaul to hopes and dreams. So ensuring that we've got a reliable network operating as efficiently as possible is really important. So it means our teams, whether they're in the field or supporting, can do their jobs efficiently and just as importantly, safely.
And so, here at Cisco Live, we've seen that network assurance has been a big theme from the keynotes in G2 and Lawrence and Vikas, as well as some of the different events and sessions. How important is network assurance to Energy Queensland?
Yeah, so, look, I'll come back to, we obviously have, Plan Bs and BCP, but without our network operating in an efficient manner, our crews can't get as much done or can get not do their work safely. So we're a digital utility. We used to aspire to be one. I think we very much are one now. So what that means is in alignment with what we call electric life, the electrification of everything. I'd like to think that means the digitization of everything as well. So gone are the days of an electrician in a truck servicing our poles and wires network. As an example, they have an iPad, which is as important as a screwdriver. Mobile switching, job dispatch, all of that kind of stuff is connectivity is essential to do their job, or I'll come back to again, safely.
Yeah, I like what you said there. Digital is as important to the physical to allow the employees to be able to do their job. So let's maybe then talk about how Thousand Eyes fits into that picture. How does it help you to bridge the digital and physical? And what was the problem that you were facing that led you to Thousand Eyes?
So we started our Thousand Eyes journey around 2 years ago with the brochure, as I'm sure a lot of companies do, while we're talking about our enterprise agreement. So we've done quite a lot in 2 years, and I'll talk about probably a couple of facets of that quickly. Initially, it was quite tactical usage. So here's a problem, here's an incident. How can we use Thousand Eyes to solve that? We'll roll some sensors out to affected customers, look at existing tests, maybe write some new tests. So we had some great initial wins there, I think. In the past 12 months, our focus has been more about, we don't have coverage of our whole network or core sites yet. We're working on that. But that's been the goal in the middle, is getting sensors on some of our, I'll say, key application users, key parts of our network, and tweaking tests to have a look at what's important. So that lets us move from being reactive to a little bit more proactive. And maybe at the end I'll talk a little bit more about future. But I thought I'd throw in an example. I'm sure everyone's interested to hear of a great success story. So most recently we had some application performance with our GIS platform. So to set the scene, it's a new project. Recently exited hypercare. Same story as before. We've got users all over the place, different connectivity at home, as you said in your session. We get our problem management teams together. It's the typical finger pointing. It's always the network. It's always patching. It's always firewalls. I look after 2 out of those 3, so always tricky. So we were able to focus how we could use Thousand Eyes to address that problem. Affected users, tests, tweaking some the tests and things like that. So to get to the point, the outcome initially was a lot of taking it all in. We were able to identify probably a hard-to-diagnose configuration error with our cloud DNS, which dramatically improved performance. And it was also able to get to that, that mean point of innocence, to go, well, it's probably not a firewall issue. The network checks out, and put some pressure on one of our SaaS providers to pull their socks up, I suppose. The other thing we noticed as part of that, just as an extra sweetener, was possibly the noisiest user tended to be on wireless at the time. So not big picture, but probably highlighted a link and wireless issue at that particular site that maybe we wouldn't have discovered as quickly without the right tooling.
So that broad visibility allowed you to be able to not only baseline the continuous performance, but then detect and isolate the problem, and then to focus a team to where they needed to spend their energy, as well as to identify, was this an isolated issue or was it a broad macro issue?
Correct.
Interesting. And so as you think about the type of use cases, you're not just a ThousandEyes customer, but you're also, as we were chatting, a large WebEx customer. And maybe you could just share a little bit for how you're leveraging ThousandEyes together with WebEx, and ultimately how that helps you to solve unique challenges.
Yeah. So video conferencing and collaboration is an essential service for our organization. We should know this number off the top of my head, but we run something like 20,000 WebEx meetings every month. The use cases there range from executive and board through to toolbox talks out in the field. So very important part of our business and a very important tool to bring the business together. It's not just Townsville or levels the playing field. And there's been some stuff at Cisco Live about that as well. Mm-hmm. So, look, having that assurance that WebEx links and our network are running optimally is really important. And we don't want to be chasing our tails on those. We don't like being reactive. So having that baseline of performance, those health checks in the morning are great for us. And when things do go wrong, it's great to be able to go back and look at those patterns. An exec always wants to know why their meeting might have had issues. Mm-hmm. It's not great when we can't provide answers. So ThousandEyes is a great tool to help us fill in those blanks. And a quick example there was an external party screen sharing, fell over, etc. We're able to use some of the tooling to, not to rule out our network and our users internally, and then kind of bounce to Control Hub and go, we can see this information. So I'll come back to our technology philosophy. We're bringing these tools together. Again, some of the stuff that's been spoken about during the week is very exciting, just to ensure a better customer experience for our internal customers.
And, as we wrap up, I want to kind of give you the opportunity, you got me on stage, to just maybe kind of share what does the future state look like for you, and what are your wishes to how we can continue to kind of drive this network assurance vision for you?
Yeah, great. So we will continue to push maturity. I think in our chats during the week, we've been quite tactical. I do like the phrase that was, reactive, proactive, but predictive. Mm-hmm. That's probably my vision for the platform as we get there. I think some specific technology announcements you've made with, already out there, but sensors in WebEx hardware, Meraki MX, making it easy to install sensors there. That was actually on Shane from my team's wish list when he went on holidays, came back, it's done. So if you can keep that up, that'd be great. And look, cloud, we're on a cloud journey as well. So what we can do to better keep an eye on our cloud providers and provide that network assurance outside our network as well.
Great. Well, thank you, Justin, for taking the time to be able to share not just your story, but ultimately your vision and journey to be able to drive toward this vision of energizing the people of Queensland. Thanks, Justin.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. So moving forward, I want to be able to then kind of wrap us up, but actually going deeper into some of those announcements that Justin mentioned. And to do so, I want to welcome to the stage Prab Singh, Director of Product here at ThousandEyes. So Prab, come to the stage. Thank you so much.
Just love that story from Justin around going from reactive to proactive to predictive, and really glad we're along this journey and hoping you to realize that vision over time. Hi, everyone. I'm Prab. I'm Director of Product at ThousandEyes, and I get the opportunity to bring our product vision to life. So in the next 10 minutes, I want to take you across some of the recent enhancements that we've made and where we're doing consistent work to realize our product vision of end-to-end network assurance. And before I do that, I just want to set the stage. When we think about our mission at ThousandEyes, it's really been around seeing, understanding, and improving connected experiences everywhere, which means we need to be able to invest in a broad data collection, like Joe mentioned, across anywhere you need us to be, allowing you to derive insights from that data and investing in research to derive intelligence and being able to show things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to see. And being able to enable operational workflows, which is how do you take the insights that you have and operationalize it in your current day-to-day process so you actually are able to act upon it and improve your network over time. So I'm going to walk through 4 examples of this almost as a lightning talk. And the first one is really about how do we enable data collection across distributed networks over large periods of time. We all know Cisco Meraki has pioneered kind of simplicity and cloud management of network devices. And if you think about global deployment of Meraki devices, we've seen Meraki MXs deployed globally across distributed environments in a simple, easy-to-manage cloud deployment manner. And so what we've recently done is allow you to enable ThousandEyes across your Meraki MX fleet. So you can essentially make your Meraki MX fleet ThousandEyes aware using a simple-to-use Meraki dashboard, where if you're an existing ThousandEyes customer, you can essentially just log in, connect the 2 accounts together through the Active Network Application Monitoring tab. If you're a new customer and you haven't tried ThousandEyes before, you can just click a Try It button, and you'll start a 90-day trial of ThousandEyes and start to enable ThousandEyes across your Meraki MX fleet. We've also enabled template support. So one of the things that we've heard a ton from our customers is make it very easy for me to understand what my top SaaS applications are and how do I measure performance to those in the best practice way. And so templates are sort of a click button that allows you to essentially enumerate the list of measurements that need to be taken place. And you can either even use our set of templates that we have around 365, SharePoint, WebEx, Salesforce, or create your own custom application for your custom apps. And we've actually taken the set of templates broadly across ThousandEyes. So whether you're using Meraki MX to enable ThousandEyes or your core set of devices for enabling telemetry collection, we have this concept of certified and partner templates now. And these have been vetted by ThousandEyes team members over time. Or with partner templates, we've actually partnered with the cloud providers like Google's and Salesforce of the world, where we've created a template of measurements that have been approved with the cloud partner and the ThousandEyes team. And the idea being, how do we enable a connected ecosystem where enterprises and enterprise custom and SaaS providers are able to collaborate on data is being created to be able to better troubleshoot those problems. Next, let's talk about hybrid work. We're all sort of, at any given time, there's at least one person in a meeting that's coming from home. And how do we enable broad data collection, even from home and office environments where you're using a WebEx device, or in an in-office experience where you're using a Roam OS device? And so we've now, as you probably heard also from Jeetu yesterday during the keynote, we've enabled ThousandEyes to run from any Roam OS device. And this is really interesting because not only does Roam OS device is used for the best-of-breed home office experience or meeting experience for WebEx, but we've also seen lots and lots of users use Roam OS's devices to access Teams. And so the agents that are running on ThousandEyes Roam OS devices are actually now have the ability to also measure Teams performance automatically based on their Teams meeting experience that you're a part of. And we've actually gone further. We've partnered with Microsoft Teams to pull direct call detail records from Microsoft that allow you to marry real call user statistics with ThousandEyes synthetic data to be able to pinpoint where problems are occurring and who it's impacting. So you'll see in this example, there's an example of a poor meeting performance on a particular meeting ID. There's a segment visualization that's looking at core statistics across the user's machine, which is their Wi-Fi, their CPU statistics. It's looking across its local network, your Wi-Fi, your gateway. It's going across the VPN, and it's going across then to the Teams application. We're also pulling specific metrics from Teams around audio, video, screen sharing that allow you to understand which users are having the performance problems, and also actually pulling user sentiment using user comments. So we're really excited about how do we make meeting experience better, whether you're at home or in the office from a Roam OS device. Then let's talk about the cloud. We all are using cloud providers for our day-to-day use. You're seeing cloud migration becoming a larger and larger part of the overall initiative that customers use. And one of the big challenges that we've seen across cloud providers is cloud is a black box. How do we see cloud networks like they were our own network? And when we think about measuring across cloud networks, the traditional techniques don't work. Even whether we're talking about SNMP, NetFlow, even core trace routes or MTR methods don't work across cloud networks because IPs are less meaningful. They're highly virtualized networks. And so what we've done with AWS is partner with AWS Network Engineering as a start to better see across cloud networks using data sources coming directly from Amazon Network Engineering. So let me roll a video and show you what this looks like in the product. What you're seeing is, as of a couple months ago, where you measure this as Thousand Eyes on Thousand Eyes, where our app itself, app.thousandeyes.com, is served across Global Accelerator. And sometimes you would see unknown nodes across AWS because we don't have the visibility across cloud networks. Now what you'll see is better enrichment of cloud networks across Amazon, and you're seeing services that are being used to deliver that service, in this case app.thousandeyes.com, across a service called Global Accelerator, which is our TCP optimizer we use to be able to better serve users across the globe. And you're seeing better telemetry coming from AWS that tells you this is going across a specific IP in a region of AWS that you would otherwise not be able to see. And that's just to start. The other thing we're doing, and we're going to be making more enhancements across AWS, but in order to talk also about how do we enable better operational workflows, we've invested in event detection. And one of the things that we've been hearing about from customers over time, I'll tell you a quick story. I was jumped on a customer call yesterday, and every time we jump on a customer call, I typically kind of get an idea of their use of Thousand Eyes. And when I looked at their account, and typically within 5 or 10 minutes, I'm able to see a catalog of interesting events that are worth investigating. And when I jumped on the call with them and I looked at the interesting event and I showed them this, usually the first reaction, this is very typical, is we had no idea. And one of the things as somebody that owns our product is how do I make it easy for our users to be able to see anomalies and stack rank where the problems are occurring. And so one of the things that we're doing with automated event detection is make it very easy for you to be able to understand where the problem's occurring without requiring any configuration. Because we want to minimize noisy alerts, and you want to pull out the meaningful signals from your data that allow you to be more proactive over time. Because a lot of these events show up in smaller increments of problems. They typically go away, and then they come back, and events really do a good job of picking that up. So let me show you an example of that. If you roll the video, here's what events looks like. So we're currently in preview on this and would love to get you access. You can see at the top there's a network issue versus a server or a DNS or an application issue. You can see how long the issue lasted, and it's looking across the entire data set. You're seeing what locations are impacted across your sites where you have agents deployed. So in this case, you have Dubai, New Delhi, and Hyderabad being impacted. And at the bottom, you're seeing a log of all the data across your tests where we're seeing this issue. You can now actually go deeper and kind of verify the issue. And in this case, you're going directly into what's called a multi-test view, where it's aggregating data across multiple data sources. In this case, we pick up this problem that actually, if you look back in time, has happened before. And you can see there's some correlation with loss, but mostly it's latency. And then you go deeper into the path visualization. This is where you can kind of go more deeply into where the problem's occurring. And it's allowing you to go directly from what we think is a network issue, how many networks it's impacting, and down to the actual path visualization that's filtered down to the specific agent and the test that it's impacting. In this case, this is a huge fan out from Hyderabad location, where we're seeing these red links across my network that are causing this high latency across many parts of my network. And that's really kind of the power of event detection, where we want to be able to pull out these needles from a haystack and allow you to be able to better serve your customers, and especially make sure that we democratize access to advanced network performance management across your data set. So with that, I just want to say thank you so much. There's a lot more to come. We're going to be continuing to invest in more data sets across broad data sources. We'll continue to invest in more intelligence across data sources. And we want to make sure we enable your operational workflows so you can see, understand, and connect digital experiences everywhere. Thanks so much.
Welcome back. We just heard from Joe Vaquero about how Thousand Eyes is creating an end-to-end network experience. And one thing in particular that really stood out was actually the fact that we're having automated events detection now. And I know for a lot of my customers who are being absolutely inundated by alerts, this is something that is going to be really important to them. So I'll definitely be leading them towards this particular iTalk. And if you have missed any of the iTalks today, you're very welcome to actually review the content from the 20th of December onwards, as we will have all our videos on demand. If you're listening and you have had a couple of commentaries, or if there are any questions that you want to ask, please use the hashtag Cisco Live APJC. We'd love to hear where you're calling in from, where you're listening in from, what you're doing at the moment, and what is actually most important to you. We've heard a lot about sustainability and AI a lot during this particular broadcast. I know that if there's anyone who is out there is counting, would absolutely love to know how many times we've said that. But in lieu of that, if you're looking for a particular products, please check out hashtag Cisco Quick Bites for any of our products being explained by our engineers. Now we're going to be moving on closely towards some guest that we're really excited to see. He's also the ANZ sponsor, so we're very happy to be hosting him here in Melbourne. That will be Jitu Patel. But before we get into that, we're also broadcasting in 7 different languages. So if you'd like to share any of this, please go there. But now we're going to Shika, who's sitting with Jitu.
Thanks, and yes, we are much anticipated interview of the day. I have with me Jitu Patel, the man himself, very own celebrity, but for everyone tuning in out there from our customers, partners, probably everyone in Cisco already knows him, but he's the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Security and Collaboration. Welcome, Jitu.
Thank you for having me, Shika.
Yeah, it's so great to have you, and I think everyone in our team has been looking forward to this one.
Oh, me too. And this has been a great event, so congratulations to all of you for putting up an amazing show.
And it's always good to hear from you guys, and you must have met a lot of customers, so that must have been incredible.
Yeah.
So I'll get into the questions.
Sure.
So we were talking about ChatGPT, generative AI. It's kind of like the talk of the town. And probably you have talked about AI in your keynote and with customers and all over. But how is Cisco sort of standing out and taking the lead in that area?
You know, we've actually been very fortunate in the sense that the investments in AI are only as good as the quality of data that you have to go out and instruct the AI models. And if you think about us, we've got one of the broadest sets of telemetry of anyone in the world. When you think about what we have from an email standpoint and from a web standpoint as far as traffic and security, and what goes on an endpoint, what happens in the network and every packet that flows through. So what we were able to do is really put our thinking hats on and say, what can we do to fundamentally simplify and delight the user, whoever that user is. So if it's an administrator that wants to set a policy in a firewall, we should make it extremely easy for them to do that in natural language. If it's a SOC assistant that's going to go out and make sure that they have their, they have an assistant that can help them out in detecting a breach and responding and remediating that breach, we can do that. If you're in WebEx and you step away for 5 minutes and come back, the generative AI capabilities can actually give you a summary of what happened while you were gone.
Yep.
And what we've done is had some really sophisticated, hard computer science problems that we've solved with AI in the past couple of years. And we've spent a few $1 billion, frankly, in investment in doing this, but in AI in general. But if you start thinking about it, our codecs that we announced are going to be up to 16 times more efficient with the use of bandwidth than the current industry standard codec, which is Opus. Our ability to go out and handle the resiliency of that codec with packet loss, you could have 5 to 10% packet loss and you'd see meaningful degradation of sound quality. Now you can have up to 85, 90% peaks of packet loss and you'd have crystal clear sound on the other side. We've taken that same technology and also moved it to video for super resolution. And then we have a unified assistant for all of WebEx. So all of the WebEx properties, calling, messaging, meetings, polling, Q&A, events, whiteboarding, async video, have a common assistant. In security, it's the same way. We have one assistant for security that we just announced.
Yep.
And we announced a private access for that was open to anyone who wants to sign up now. or private preview. And in the next few months, it'll go GA. But the amazing part about the private preview is the accuracy rates that we're getting from the customers who've initially signed on for it have been way higher than what we had ever thought. Yeah. So not only is the user experience delightful, it's going to actually address talent shortage because there's such a huge talent shortage in security. Yeah. And it's going to be something that just takes away the friction while increasing the efficacy and improving the economics for the end user.
Yeah. And I think this kind of every point you mentioned, it kind of ties really well with all the interviews that we have had before, because we had Larissa, she talked about this agent burnout and then adding the human touch. And again, we had a couple of security architects and they talked about the talent shortage. So it's kind of perfect, like you are one of our last interviews in this studio, and then it kind of ties into every element that was talked about throughout the broadcast.
Look, I'll tell you one thing, sorry to interrupt, but I think the team is, I've been in business for 30 years. I am the most proud in my career of the team that we've built over here, and they're doing such a fantastic job. I'm fortunate enough to get credit for it and talk about this over here, but they're the ones who are doing all the hard work. So.
Yeah, and that, again, ties very well into my next questions, because a lot of our audience, especially in the broadcast, are IT engineers. Yeah. And then you mentioned in your keynote yesterday that if you want to handle a cybersecurity problem, it needs to be at machine scale, not human scale. Yeah. So how do you think that whatever innovations that we're bringing in with AI, how would an IT engineer's life change on day-to-day? And how does that help them particularly?
Well, I think the goal over here is to make sure that the IT practitioner and the security practitioner, their lives are also changing. It's not just the end user. So in all of our AI investments we're making, we have a few personas that we keep in mind. Of course, the end user, where we have to take friction away from them. And we can talk about that. But the IT administrator right now, if you think about what the state of the security industry is, there's about, 3,500 or so vendors in the market. On average, most companies have about 70 vendors, and the current state is just not tenable moving forward. Yeah. So I think there's this inflection point where there's a movement from point solution providers to platform providers. And I think, we will be one of the, consequential platform providers in this market. And if you think about what we're doing there for the platform, is we're making it easy for every IT administrator to be able to have a single pane of glass with which they can manage all of the different technologies that they might have, from Cisco, and we will integrate with the third parties as well.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited about the innovation that's being done for the IT administrator, and then what we've done that's really meaningful is it's not just about, in security, we don't just think about security. We tie into the remainder of the areas that we might actually have innovation. So, for example, Thousand Eyes is integrated both into WebEx's Control Hub product, which is the administrative console for WebEx, and in the security product. Yeah. And so you're able to see not just, you're able to guarantee that you have a great experience as a user, but when you don't, why did you not have a good experience? And how can I go out and find details around that? And can I hone into, is it the bandwidth? Is it the client? Is it the router? Where is the breakdown happening? We're now able to get that level of telemetry in a moment's notice, which is really exciting to see.
Yeah,
and no one else besides us does that, frankly.
Yeah, and I think with another point that we had people asking questions around is the intent to acquire Splunk, and that what we were talking about earlier, like IT engineers, and we wanted to see how their life would change in terms of, as you mentioned, Thousand Eyes. So you get one pane of glass, and again, everyone says network issues, but now we can get granular and see where it is. Yeah. Exactly. So with the intent to acquire Splunk, how do you think that that could help the engineers out there who are listening in as well?
Well, look, the way that you think about Splunk, it's a pretty easy equation for us when we were thinking about it. If we want to be a great networking company, we have to be a great security company. And if you want to be a great security company, you have to be dealing with things, like you said, at machine scale, not at human scale. So you have to be a great AI company. And in order to be a great AI company, you have to be a great data company. And Splunk provides us that data fabric and the data platform on top of which value can be added, because every log for every product actually can go there at very large, kind of petabyte, exabyte scale. And we can make sure that we can query that in a very meaningful way. So I think Splunk's going to be extremely strategic from that standpoint. And they have SIM, which is they're one of the industry standards for SIM. But we have XDR.
Yes.
And you take their SIM, you take our XDR, you take their SOAR, you take their user behavior analytics, you put them all together. You now have a very interesting way to solve extremely hard problems that customers have in near real time and move from this notion of detect and respond to predict and prevent. And I think AI is going to be such a core part of that kind of fabric as well as we move forward.
Yeah, and I know we have talked about AI so much. Earlier when we were hosting, we were thinking of having a jar. Every time someone says AI, drop $1 in it, probably you would be full by now. But again, we had a security architect yesterday, and we were talking about acquisition, Splunk, and OAT as well, and how that really fits into our security strategy. So all the points you mentioned, 100% agree. And again, very well ending to all the interviews, because every point you've mentioned, all of our engineers out there have listened to it, and I think it's a great message coming out from you.
Well, I'll leave you with this, is we are probably in an era right now which will be thought of as one of the most consequential eras in the history of tech and in the history of humanity. Because this is not just a platform shift, it's such a major platform shift that every single aspect of humanity will change.
Yeah.
And at a time like this, what ends up happening is people overestimate the impact of technology in the short term, but they grossly underestimate it in the long term. So if you think about your and my lives in the past year, they haven't changed that much with ChatGPT coming online. But if you look in 5 years, in 7 years, in 10 years, this is going to be, we will look back at this time and go, oh my goodness, can you imagine we used to live life that way?
Exactly,
yeah. And I think that'll be such a massive seismic shift. And I think the rate of change is so dramatic right now that we have to figure out a way that, we take advantage of it, but it's also something that's going to be very hard to predict. In 3 years, I don't think you'll be able to predict 3 years out.
Yeah.
Because this rate of scientific progress will probably compound at 1,000x. It's very hard to predict 3 years out at that rate.
Yeah. And I think, again, if I think about what you're saying, that 3 years, and if we look back, hybrid work was the talk of the town in like 2 years ago. But a lot of our people are thinking that it's not there anymore. But I think what I love about Cisco, because I'm part of collaboration team as well, so that all the workflows that we have and how we're making the end user experience with Vidcast and Slido and integrating that, because hybrid work is here to stay. So could you talk a bit about hybrid work? Because I know the messaging is quite AI sustainability focused now, but...
No, but I think hybrid work is a central part. I mean, AI is a means to go out and enable hybrid work to be better done. And we will make it not just hybrid work that's effective, but secure hybrid work in a frictionless manner. And so I think if you think about hybrid work right now, that's the third major way that people are going to be operating with each other. The first wave of how people worked was pre-COVID. Everyone came to the office. The occasional straggler that didn't, life pretty much sucked for them. Then came the era of COVID, where overnight we had to flip over. And I think we all surprised ourselves at how easy it was for the first few months. But we also felt like, hey, I missed the human contact that I'm not getting. If I stay 6 months at home, you start going stir crazy. And then now we're in this mode, which is the hardest of the three, which is in mixed mode. People always have a risk of being left out, feeling left out. And so how do we make people feel included, but the distance goes away between people? So one of the areas that we're working on really hard is, as you know, is this notion of distance zero, where take away the distance when people are far apart from each other and make it feel like that they're right there. And the innovation that we've done in WebEx in the past few years, I think, is unparalleled to anything anyone else in the industry has done.
Yeah.
And we've kept it open so that we can tie in with Microsoft, we can tie in with others. So I'm excited about what work we'll be able to do, but what I would not want to see society regress back to is the way things were pre-COVID, where people came into the office 5 days a week and they were required to do that, because I just don't think that you get the best talent from a global standpoint to participate in a global economy. I need someone in a village in Bangladesh who's got a great brain to also contribute to a global economy, just like someone in the heart of Silicon Valley.
That's such a great message.
I think we have to make sure that and it should happen on our clock.
Yeah.
And so we're working hard to make that the case.
And I think that message resonates with our customers, partners, and everyone who's listening in. Well, that was the last question, but I do want to, since you're also, as Em mentioned, sponsor for ANZ, so thank you for that. But I do want to end, because we're in Melbourne, Australia. Have you tried Vegemite yet?
I have not.
Okay, we need to bring that in at some point.
Oh, right.
But yeah, thank you so much, Jeetu. That was amazing, and I'm sure everyone loved hearing your insights. We could talk for hours, but yeah, we have an iTalk starting next. So I'm going to throw to the iTalk. It's driving connected and protected experiences with SASE. So over to the iTalk. Thank you. Thanks, Jeetu.
Essentially be anywhere. The traditional perimeter no longer exists. This multi-cloud environment leads to increased operational costs, added complexity, and of course, added security risks. 41% of IT decision makers and CIOs identify the need to securely connect users to applications and resources as their number one obstacle. And most leaders view the need for consistent and simple operational model across this hyper-distributed environment is key for success. So how can IT teams deal with this new reality? And this is where SASE comes in. SASE is a term that was coined by Gartner in 2019. It stands for Secure Access Service Edge, and is essentially a technology convergence play that brings together multiple security functions that run in the cloud, referred to as SSE, or Security Service Edge, together with SD-WAN for networking. More broadly, when we think of SASE, SASE is an architectural foundation that allows us to converge and bring together networking and security to better meet the needs of this hyper-distributed environment. Now, it's important to note that SASE is essentially a combination of the two big building blocks, SSE and SD-WAN, and we should not conflate SASE as an architecture and as a framework with each one of those building blocks. Now, their customers have many, many different ways to get to SASE. What you see on the left side here is this disaggregated, SASE also caters for business needs. When we talk about boosting productivity, the focus goes to users. And this is about making sure that users have this seamless experience wherever they work and power the hybrid work reality. But we go beyond the end users. We also think of the admins. And SASE helps make the life of the admins much simpler by having this tool consolidation and also by the opportunity of driving radical simplification. When we talk about cost optimization, SASE essentially gives you greater agility, and it is adaptable for the future. It also brings the cloud principles to the equation, both from a cost as well as from a scaling standpoint. And last, but definitely not least, SASE focuses on making everyone safer, minimizing risk, improving the network resiliency in order to ensure business continuity when circumstances change, and we know that those can change overnight. It is also about giving continuous visibility across this distributed environment with always-on security that can help mitigate and detect threats. So now we can talk about the ways to get to SASE. And what you see on the left here of the slide is this disaggregated mix of a lot of point products that were created by the pursuit of best-of-breed solutions. This led to vendor sprawl. This led to an increased level of complexity and can't really be classified as SASE. Integrated SASE is where customers can essentially consume and use the two building blocks of SASE, namely SSE and SD-WAN, separately. Now, those can come from two different vendors, which is what we call the dual vendor integrated SASE, or from a single vendor, with the latter being more integrated, increases the probability of things working well together. Now, for a truly converged turnkey solution, unified SASE offers a streamlined and consistent management across your networking environment as well as your security environment, and can help you unlock the true promise and potential of SASE. Most of the SASE solutions today in the market are integrated SASE. But what we are seeing is that the market is rapidly shifting to more single vendor solutions, towards platforms, and towards things that are more unified. Now, we see this on the demand side, and we also see this across different vendors on the supply side. Cisco is one of the only vendors that offers solutions across this entire spectrum of options. So no matter where you are in your SASE journey, we can help you with it. Now, Cisco offers the most complete portfolio of SASE solutions, and it is driven by a two-pronged strategy for SASE. First, we continue to enhance our building blocks of SASE across SD-WAN, across SSC, making sure that each of them can lead in their respective spaces. And in parallel to that, we're also bringing it all together with unified SASE. Customers and partners can purchase the building blocks of SASE from us, SD-WAN and SSC, to enable dual vendor integrated SASE with an ecosystem of product integrations, as well as a single vendor integrated SASE. But alternatively, customers can also go all in on SASE and have a fully unified SASE solution with Secure Connect, which is our converged SASE solution that leverages both the Cisco networking cloud as well as the Cisco security cloud. So let's dive in and talk a little bit more on our unified SASE. Starting with our vision. Our unified SASE vision is to bring together and combine our market-leading networking, client connectivity, security, and visibility capabilities into a single subscription service that delivers the outcomes of SASE, which is essentially to enable this secure access to any application and resource across any network, anywhere work happens. Now, Secure Connect is our complexity and the risk, and provides the easiest and fastest path to SASE. It delivers a consistent and simple operating model that extends from your premise to the cloud, and this unified SASE platform provides streamlined management for your SASE environment across your networking domains, across your security domains, and it is powered by the Meraki platform and the Meraki dashboard. An important architectural principle with Secure Connect is that anything that connects to this Secure Connect SASE fabric is inherently interconnected. Users have access to resources behind branches, and branches are interconnected themselves, but it is all governed and controlled by policy constructs that are embedded into the fabric. So let's talk a little bit about what's new with Secure Connect. First of all, I'm happy to announce that Secure Connect Foundation, which focuses on protecting your branches and giving you secure internet access services, is available in ANZ and can be used today. In addition to that, we're also announcing an org-wide unified policy that radically simplifies the way that you approach policies and also enforces them across the fabric. So instead of me continuing to talk about unified SASE, let's see this in action and have a quick flyby. So if we can switch to the demo. So customers that buy Secure Connect get the Meraki dashboard, and Secure Connect shows up as another product in your existing dashboard environment. The overview page gives you this single view across your SASE environment, looking at the different security events in one place, all the different policies that are in action, and a view that shows you all your sites that are connected and protected, remote access users, as well as applications. Let's look at how we manage sites. The sites page shows you all the SD-WAN sites that are attached to the fabric. Clearly, we have access to the entire SD-WAN footprint, so it's very easy to attach a site to the SD-WAN fabric, and we'll see that happen in a second. But the other thing is that we continuously monitor the connection and the service availability of all of those branches, so you can have a single place where you monitor it. Let's go through adding sites. Here, I have only one site, but I'm going to add two more sites. The first site, and again, I get the selection of all my SD-WAN branches. I can filter that very easily, and here I'll take the Singapore branch, and I'll assign it to the Asia region. Every region has 2 data centers that are geographically separated with different power, different networking, so it's a highly resilient architecture. I'm going to add another site here, which is in Europe, so I have 3 different geographical regions, all forming one SASE fabric. Here I'm going to take Frankfurt and assign it to Europe. All I need to do, once that is in place, I review the changes, and once I submit it, I don't have to do anything. I can sit back and relax. I don't need to think of IP addresses, tunnels, any configuration. The system does everything for me, continuously monitoring and setting this up and orchestrating this, all of this. And once done, those new sites are attached to the fabric. Now let's see how we work with applications. Not sites, applications. So going to the Secure Connect menu, opening the application page, shows you the different applications you have across your private apps, which are defined by users. Here we have one application that will show how it works, but it essentially provides you with both network level access as well as ZTNA access. And of course, you also see the discovered public applications. Now let's see how users benefit from this. On the top, we have a remote worker that has an established VPN connection and is protected by the fabric. So let's see what basically secure internet access looks like. They're going into social media, everything works, and they can access private applications either through a ZTNA type of access, or this private app can also be accessed locally through VPN because that's what the policy allows. The same experience applies to a branch user. They have the same ability to access the internet as well as private applications. Now I want to touch on the org level policy and show you how all of this behaves and is radically simplified. So we're going to set a very simple rule just for the sake of the example. We're going to block social media across the organization. And here I can choose social networking across the board. And then this is where the magic happens. I can choose where I want to enforce it. So all the enforcement points that are valid show up here, and the customer just needs to approve enforcing it across the stack, across the fabric, and that's it. The system takes care of everything else. So if we go to our branch as an example, we can see that the local firewall on the branch inherits this org level policy and applies it locally in its firewall. The benefit here is that branch users don't need to send traffic to the cloud. You don't saturate your uplink. Similarly, same thing is done on the cloud firewall. So remote workers that connect to the global cloud footprint have the same policy inherited. And that creates a normalized experience for both remote workers and branch users. So if they try to now access social media, both will be blocked, either locally at the branch or at the cloud, which is essentially, saves you a lot of time, a lot of money, and gives you a better experience. Pretty cool. So let's talk about what's coming with Secure Connect. First, we're going to expand the service availability of Secure Connect to add the complete package, which essentially allows you to do hybrid work. And in addition, we continue to enhance the capabilities of the SSC engine that runs and powers Secure Connect. So to learn more about the innovations that we're bringing with Secure Access, which is our enhanced SSC engine, I want to invite my friend and partner in crime, Jeff Schaefer, to stage. Jeff.
Thank you, Omri. Okay, good afternoon. I am thrilled to get a chance to talk about one of the major areas of innovation in our SASE architectures, which is in the componentry of Cisco Secure Access, which is our most comprehensive security service edge SSE solution in the market today. I want to talk to you a little bit about the capabilities and the innovation that we're bringing forward in order to better solve how we bring network and security together to transform the operational environment. So first and foremost, the job that we're solving with that is how do we connect with Cisco Secure Access? How do we connect users, devices, or things to any application? Whether it is a web application, a public SaaS application, or an enterprise private application, with a single experience anywhere, whether it's in the corporate office, the home office, the coffee shop, or anywhere in between, with one experience and zero trust controls. Now, what's most important, of course, is not only what we do and the outcome we're able to deliver, but also what are the capabilities that enable that. And so with that, I'd like to talk a little bit about what is part of our new Cisco Secure Access, the Security Service Edge solution from Cisco. So we have everything, as Omri was pointing out, in terms of the Gartner definition of required core services. We have an enterprise firewall as a service capability. We have content filtering with our secure web gateway and our cloud application security broker capabilities, underpinned by a multi-mode data loss prevention, or DLP technology, which is able to look at traffic in motion or data in motion, looking at the flow, as well as data at rest, by being able to apply the same engine and the same policies through APIs to, for example, public cloud storage like Dropbox or SharePoint or Box. And finally, where we manage like 80 different data types. And then the other thing that we're able to do, or we are introduced, is brand new with our new Zero Trust Network Access architecture. More accurately for us, we introduced what is called a Zero Trust Access Relay. And unlike last generation ZTNA solutions, we're solving a lot of the problems with those first generation architectures. So the challenge with the last generation solution is oftentimes they're web only, and so they don't work with all applications. Oftentimes they have high latency. They're built on reverse proxy architectures, which means they protect the application or the resource, but not the user or the subject. And with a relay architecture, it's built on a modernized set of application protocols, which is QUIC and MASC framework. And you can also support TLS over TCP. And so it allows us to encapsulate down to the transport layer, which allows us to do TCP, UDP, Web 2, and Web 3 protocols. So it's all ports, all protocols, and all applications. Secondly, because it's built on this modernized set of protocols, QUIC is at the core of every CDN network. It's very fast, and it allows us to address the latency issue of last generation ZTNA solutions. And because it's a relay, it's a pair of forward proxies as opposed to a reverse proxy, and that allows us to do a thing called bidirectional obfuscation, where we not only protect the resource and application, we equally protect the users or the subjects. So if the user is compromised, there's no access to the application. If the application is compromised, there's no access to the users. So this is a very key innovation in terms of moving forward the state of the industry around zero trust architectures and implementations. But there's more. In addition to what we've done around the core services and this new Zero Trust Access Relay, we've introduced new capabilities that we have up here in terms of VPN as a service. When we talk to yourselves and all of your colleagues across the industry, one of the key things that you've told us is that in your environments, that zero trust can work for only a subset of the applications. That there are a lot of applications that don't work in these zero trust architectures. These are applications that are server initiated, like monitoring and troubleshooting tools. It's applications with high latency considerations. It's applications that require peer-to-peer communications like SIP and IP telephony. It's multi-channel applications like ERP tools that have a multi-channel response. For those applications, still require a VPN. And there's some organizational roles and responsibilities that require a VPN. For example, if you're IT support, or if you're a DevOps team and you need access to the network and all of its resources, we have provided a solution that brings together the power of both architectures with the Zero Trust Access Relay and a fallback catch-all VPN as a service. It's one of the biggest innovations in the industry, and it's unique in the industry, this combined endpoint that is able to handle the multi-tunnel, multi-heading capabilities that are required to support this architecture. In addition to that, we extended it with digital experience, or our Cisco Secure Access Experience Insights capability. By incorporating, powered by ThousandEyes, we've incorporated the response agent directly into the endpoint. So not only are we providing this very robust connectivity with high trust, we're also able to troubleshoot application and network experience from the perspective of the end user. Think about all of your IT teams in the hybrid world. When the user's at home, they're in the coffee shop. Is it the local? Is it the application? Is it the device? Is it the local network? Is it the broadband? Is it the transit network? Is it the cloud service? Where's the problem? We now have the ability to look at the application and the network experience from the perspective of the end user, and then to use that telemetry information to provide remote troubleshooting with guided remediation and problem solving, as well as being able to provide it locally for self-service to avoid trouble tickets. It's one of the most powerful uses and the power of bringing our entire portfolio together in terms of Cisco Secure Access as a component of our SASE architectures. And then we go beyond that, of course. We include, for example, remote browser isolation, everything we do with the multi-mode DLP that we talked about before, the DNS layer security. We process over 600 billion DNS records per day, so we are an at-scale security cloud. We have advanced malware, we have IPS IDS with our Talos threat intelligence system, we have our sandboxing capabilities, and one of the most interesting things is it's completely enabled by an AI-powered platform. And as an AI-powered platform, we think about it in two very important ways. One is, how do we do AI for security and security for AI? AI technologies have been here for a long time. Machine learning, deep learning, machine reasoning, Bayesian analytics, contemporary examples like large language models and generative AI. The challenge is, how do you apply those technologies to a specific data set and a problem in order to generate insights, in order to assist and automate the responses so that you are looking at things that are data sets beyond human scale, looking at anomalies below human sensitivity, and being able to respond beyond human speed, removing all of the human latency. So when we think about AI for security, we're harnessing the power of this broad set of AI technologies as part of our platform in order to improve the efficacy and the efficiency of security operations. Examples of this today in our DNS layer services. 600 billion daily transactions. And out of that, we can automatically use our AI technologies to automatically identify new domain infrastructure and to be able to pinpoint the infrastructure that's being used for nefarious services, and then to be able to automatically block that. Or our new generative technologies, which we're able to use in order to author zero trust policies more quickly and efficiently. So AI for security. In addition, we go in and we provide security for AI. So how do we use our cloud security services to enable users to successfully and safely use public AI services? So we extended our multi-mode DLP capability to look at the interaction of users to the prompt and to be able to catch when sensitive data is being communicated, like, I want you to summarize my meeting notes, not realizing I'm leaking my intellectual property. I can catch that. I can block that. Safe usage of public AI. Or AI is a very good software engineer. As the content comes back from the prompt, how do I watermark the code and be able to track it so that I don't accidentally have IP contamination and I don't accidentally bring malware back into my company? So very powerful capabilities on our new Cisco Secure Access solution. And we're integrated broadly across the rest of the Cisco portfolio with our SD-WAN solutions, as Omri was pointing out, is how we would come together either in that disaggregated and modular integrated SASE solution or as part of our single vendor SASE offers. And then bringing back from there, being able to take all that telemetry up into your security operations center through XDR, our integration with Cisco XDR and other solutions, and continue to provide a broad ecosystem and capability. Now, having announced all of that, one more thing we're really excited to announce today, as you know, is the importance in a SASE solution is what do we do at the endpoint? And so we have broad coverage of endpoints between Windows, Mac operating systems, and other endpoints. And here in Cisco Live, here in Melbourne, we are thrilled to talk about our collaboration and the partnership with Samsung to incorporate our zero trust endpoint capabilities directly into the Android distribution. And the benefit of having that partnership today allows us to create a much better experience for end users. It's already in there. It's one click, and it's very successful. Number two, it's simpler for IT. It's a simple deployment, and we're able to implement the granular policy services and least privileged control of enterprise private applications on the mobile endpoint. And it's safer for everyone by having this robust and comprehensive set of underlying technologies based on TLS and TCP, or based on our QUIC and our UDP protocols. In addition to that, we extended our solution to simplify the Zero Trust access implementation. So it is Zero Trust in only 5 minutes with resource connectors. These are deployed next to your private applications. They create an inside-out connection into the security service edge. And through the simplicity of being able to deploy the connector, set up and map applications to those connectors, and then author the policy, you can have Zero Trust in 5 minutes. And then beyond that, we went further than that by introducing, as we talked earlier, about our Experience Insights capability. So we're absolutely thrilled to incorporate that Thousand Eyes technology in order to troubleshoot the network and application experience from the perspective of the endpoint. And it would probably be super useful at this point in time to talk one more about with Katsuhiro Nagori Kawasa, and talk about how he's a Toshiba fellow, and is responsible for implementing SASE architectures at Toshiba from the endpoint all the way through the cloud for 110,000 users. And with that, may I welcome to the stage Mr. Katsuhiro Nagori Kawasan. Thank you for joining us here today. And I think maybe 3 questions that we can talk to the audience about today. The first and the most important of those is, what were the business drivers for Toshiba in terms of the journey to SASE?
東芝ではインターネットなどの外部の境界線を作ることで、社内のネットワークセキュリティを確保してきました。でもいわゆる今まで一般的であったクローズドネットワークでした。
Toshiba has been ensuring the security of its company network by creating boundary between the internal network and the internet, which includes the other external parties. This is so-called the closed networks that was common until now.
しかし事業の柔軟性、俊敏性を確保するための、クラウドサービスの活用っていったところがやっぱり阻害されてしまっているということと、堅牢性を確保するために、やはり境界防御ではもう守りきれなくなるといった、課題がありました。
However, the use of cloud services to ensure flexibility and agility in business activities was being compromised because of security concerns. The issue is that the boundary protection could not provide sufficient security anymore.
壁を取り除くことで事業活動の俊敏性を確保して柔軟なアクセス制御と通信モニタリングによってセキュリティを担保するためにいわゆるネクストジェネレーションネットワークというのを定義してそこではオープンネットワークですねを目指してSASEをもう積極的に活用していくということにしました。
In order to ensure the agility of business activities by removing barriers and in order to guarantee security through flexible access control and communication monitoring, we decided to aggressively use SASE on the next generation network to utilize it as an open network.
Those are a fantastic understanding of the business drivers. Can you comment a little bit on the complexity of the IT environment and working with Cisco, what were the things that were really critical to simplify and improve in the operational in the environment?
東芝グループは100年にわたって電力や鉄道などの国の重要なインフラを支える事業に携わってきてました。また伝統的な事業をただデジタルによって物からことへ変革しようとしています。
For 100 years, the Toshiba Group has been involved in businesses that support critically important national infrastructures, such as electricities and railways. On the other hand, we are in the process of digital transformations of our traditional business style, from a product base to a service base.
このように多彩な事業を行っているために、これらを支える情報システムですね、こういったところの要件も複雑になってまして、目指すオープンネットワークには段階的に移行していこうということを決めました。
Because we are engaged in such a wide variety of businesses, the requirements of the information systems for businesses are complex. For this reason, gradually, we have decided to migrate to the open network/SASE architecture.
まずフェーズ1として、リモートアクセス、テレワーク環境ですね、こちらの強化を行うということにしました。これはちょうどCOVID-19 の影響で、社員が原則テレワーク化、いわゆるによって、この環境の強化が必要だったということと要件がマッチしました。
Phase 1, we decided to enhance remote access and work environment. This was just during the pandemic period. Therefore, it matched the increasing demand for the remote work.
シスコソリューションを活用することで、利用者認証であるとか端末チェックといった厳格化がした上でインターネットアクセスのセキュリティを確保しながら、クラウドサービスですね、こちらのアクセスも非常に高速化したということで従業員もかなり満足している、そういう状況です。
The Cisco solution assured that we could achieve faster access to cloud services while ensuring the security of internet access through strict user authentication and device checking that made us very, very satisfactory.
That's very complex and challenging tasks when building an architecture to serve 110,000 employees. If there was one lesson learned, one takeaway from your experience that you would like to leave everyone here, what would you share?
最初の目標であった柔軟性であるとか俊敏性、堅牢性を確保して、オープンネットワークへの道筋というのは、見えたと思っています。今後の課題、やっぱりその事業の複雑性への対応とか、この、規模が大きいといったところに合わせた性能をどう確保していくかというのが、ポイントになるかなと思っています。
Yes, flexibility, agility, and robustness are on the way to an open network. Future challenges are dealing with the complexity of the business and the performance tailored to the large companies. That would be our next challenging.
東芝では、事業活動の柔軟性、俊敏性を確保するために情報システム自体を、クラウドファーストということで推進してまして、セキュリティ機能ですね、セキュリティ機能のクラウド化っていう観点についてもちょうど考え方がマッチしていたので、良かったと思っています。
Toshiba is promoting a cloud-first approach to information systems to ensure flexibility and agility in its business activities, and the security function matched this approach.
でセキュリティ機能のクラウド化によって、事業の変化であるとかパンデミックなどにも新たなハードウェアを追加することなく対応できたと。でまたセキュリティ機能についても最新のものを使って守れるということが大きいと思います。
By moving security functions to the cloud now, Toshiba can flexibly respond to business changes and pandemics without the need of new hardware. The security functions are also up to date.
でしかし、やっぱ先ほども述べた通り事業の複雑、コングロマリットによるところから情報システムの要件も複雑になっています。
However, as I mentioned earlier, due to the complexity of the business, the conglomerate, the information system requirements also become complex.
これは事業が複雑な製造業の共通な悩みかなと思っており、弊社が先んじてこの質ともある追加要件ですね、こういったところをどう盛り込んでいただいてサポートする、あとはポリシーの数ですね、これを増やしていただくというところにはもうシスコシステムズには非常に期待しております。
This is a common concern for manufacturing companies with complex businesses. This is where we hope Cisco systems can support us by introducing additional and essential functions and also increasing the number of policies we support.
また東芝は非常に規模の大きい会社になりますので、クラウドサービスを利用するときに、スケーラビリティの確保が重要になります。性能の足りないクラウドサービスは利用できないので、これについては強くシスコシステムズに協力をお願いしたいと思っています。
Toshiba is a very large company, so scalability is also important when we use cloud services. We cannot choose a service that lacks its performance, and we have high expectations for Cisco systems here now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
どうもありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。
Nugari Kawa-san.
はい。ありがとうございます。ありがとうございました。
Okay. Thank you. All right, as we conclude, and as discussed with Toshiba and the importance of scale, one of the two things we'd like to leave you with is that Cisco is already operating our cloud security services and our SASE architectures at scale with over 70,000 cloud security users, 220 million endpoints, 600 billion daily transactions of our DNS services on our cloud security controls, 40,000 SD-WAN customers with almost 2 million SD-WAN routers under management, and 16 trillion flows per day. So you can have complete confidence in partnering with Cisco, and we look to work with you on your SASE journey. And in conclusion, if I could ask you to take a moment as you complete this presentation, if you can rate the content and the discussion, we greatly appreciate your time and attention today. Thank you.
G'day, I'm Simon King here at Cisco Live in Melbourne, and I wanted to talk to you quickly about the Quick Bites program of content that we have. This is a program that's been running for a long time. I'm very passionate about as an ex-engineer. I've recorded a bunch of sessions myself. This is content by engineers, Cisco engineers, for engineers, in a quick form content, all available on social media, really easy to find. Go into your social media channels, search for Cisco Quick Bites. The great news today is that we're releasing yet to be seen clips around different technologies. They're really exciting, and I want to throw to the studio to roll them now.
Hi, I'm Darren Lin. I'm a technical solution architect at Cisco. Any security analyst knows how demanding things can get. Disparate tooling, mixed signals, manual correlation, and alert fatigue are very real. I'm going to show you how to bring efficiency to the security analyst role, speeding up an investigation to drastically reduce the time to resolution using Cisco XDR. Okay, let's get started. Here we can see both Cisco and third-party tools and intelligence sources all in one place. Now, going to the workflow section, we can see many pre-built and custom workflows. These workflows are used in a variety of ways, including the remediation process, which I'll show you in a minute. But here in the incident section, where the analyst spends most of their time, here we can see a filtered view of reported incidents, their priority, source, and who it's been assigned to. Let's take a look at the first incident with a priority of 1,000, being the highest priority that can be assigned. Immediately on the drawer that opens, I as the analyst get an in-depth but clear view of the incident. Hovering over the MITRE legend pops up a dialog with the tactics and techniques. Clicking View Detail here opens a dialog of the tactics used. Scrolling down, I see the indicators. I also see the details of the targeted asset and other useful information. Clicking on View Incident Details, I can see an overview of all the assets included in the incident and their relationships. The graph compresses the associated detections and provides a view of the relationships between the observables. In the panels below, I have a list of assets, indicators, and observables. Anything in the observables pane that is red is known to be malicious. Now, I'll expand the IP address icon in the relations graph to show the 6.6.6.6 IP. Clicking on that IP shows connections to and from. The arrows indicate the direction of the communication. Expanding the hosts and files group and then selecting the IP address again, I now see a clear relationship between the malicious IP and the files and hosts which have communicated to it. I can also zoom in and out, plus move the icons around to suit my personal preference. From what I'm seeing, this looks, feels, and smells like communications to a command and control destination. Clicking on detections, the window shows all the detections associated with the incident. If I look at the lower right corner, there are 167 different detections. Now to the response tab. The response tab provides me with a set of procedures I can follow to respond to the incident. It follows a defined process of identification, containment, eradication, and recovery. It ensures all my findings are documented so they can be reviewed at any time. Clicking on containment, then contain incident, and then assets, we see clear notes telling me what the automation will do. I can now remediate the incident and in this case, contain the asset. I click select, choose the asset, and click execute. This actions the workflow to contain the asset and documents the process, and here is the documented evidence of the actions taken. There you have it. Using Cisco XDR, I've sped up my ability as an analyst to assess and respond to an incident. It's made my job a lot easier. I was able to completely resolve this incident quickly, and I was guided the entire way. Thank you for checking out Cisco Quick Bites.
Hi, I'm Sheila Kishan. I'm a technical solutions architect here at Cisco. Today I'm going to show you how to configure a policy in Duo to check a user's device posture before granting them access to your application. Duo's device posture check helps protect your corporate application from devices that don't meet your security requirements. One critical aspect of device posture is checking the operating system and browser versions. Now, outdated operating systems can leave your devices exposed to zero-day attacks and compromise your organization's security. So let's get started. Once you log into the Duo admin portal, click on Policies. Now, you can either create a new policy or modify an existing one. In this video, we'll create a new policy. Now, scroll down to the Custom Policy section and click on New Policy. This will bring up the policy editor. Give this new policy a recognizable name. Let's just call it OS policy. Next, you'll click on Operating Systems. In this section, you can specify what type of operating systems are allowed to access your application and the version requirements. In our demo, we'll only allow Windows devices to access the application, and they need to run the latest software version. As you can see, this list is dynamically updated by Duo, so you don't have to modify your policy whenever a new version is released. As an administrator, you can choose to give your users a grace period to update their versions before blocking their access. In this policy, I'll be blocking access from all end-of-life versions. Now, next step is to click on Create Policy. Now we'll apply this policy to an application. Click on Applications, select the application you want to protect, and again, for this demo, we'll choose the Salesforce application. Scroll down to the Policy section. You can choose to apply this policy to all users or a select group of users, like administrator or contractors, via the User Group policy. I'll apply this policy to all users accessing the Salesforce application. Select the newly created policy in the pop-up and click on Apply Policy. Now scroll down to the bottom of this page and save the changes. Now let's see what happens from a user's perspective. I'm a user trying to access the Salesforce application from a macOS machine. Now as you can see, the access is denied. Now let's try it from a Windows machine. Duo checks the operating system version in the backend using Duo Device Health application. As the operating system is end of life, I'll need to update my machine before I can access the application. Now, in both cases, Duo provides the user self-remediation instruction so they don't have to call a help desk to figure out why they can't access the application. So there you go. By enforcing strict device posture policies and ensuring all devices are up to date before accessing the application, Duo can minimize the risk of breaches. Thanks for watching Cisco Quick Bytes video.
Hi, I'm Umi Glade, Solutions Engineer at Cisco. And today I want to show you how you can improve security for the riskiest authentications using Cisco Duo. Our aim is to mitigate commonly known attack patterns such as push harassment, unrealistic travel, or location anomalies. So let's have a look at how to enable risk-based authentication policy, and I'll walk you through a scenario of what happens when that policy is enforced. So first, log into the Duo admin panel, click on policies, and I'll choose the zero trust policy and click on edit. Click on remembered devices, tick remembered devices for browser-based applications, choose remembered devices using risk-based authentication for X number of days, click on risk-based factor selection, tick on limit available authentication methods based on risk, choose verify Duo push code length, save policy. Now let's see risk-based authentication in action. To set context, this tab is a bad actor's access device, and this phone is a legitimate user's authentication device. The bad actor is accessing an application using stolen credentials. A legitimate user receives a push and accidentally approves the push. Even though a valid username, password, and an approved push notification has been provided, Duo has detected something risky and now requires additional verification. Let's check what Duo has detected to require additional verification. We can see that it's been denied, and the reason is country code mismatch. Let's dig deeper. If we click on access device, we can see its location is Norway, but the MFA was approved in Australia. Hence, it's a risky authentication. Because Duo has detected a risky login with the access device and authentication device in different countries, if we try to send push again, we step up authentication and require a 6-digit code to be entered to verify their identity. But wait, they have no physical access to the authentication device, i.e. the phone, to enter the code. This times out and access has been denied to the application. Reviewing the logs again under Trust Assessment column, we can hover over less trusted to get more information on reason access was denied, and can see the risk-based factor selection policy was enforced. And that is how we can step up authentication in high-risk scenarios to ensure the user is who they say they are. Thanks for checking out Cisco Quick Bytes.
Hey, how great were those clips? I think they're fantastic. So do yourself a favour, follow hashtag Cisco Quick Bytes on your social media channels. I'm going to throw it back to the studio.
Years ago. And over those last 20 years, we've learned a lot. We worked with you, and we've learned that it's not so easy to connect those industrial assets. And we've learned that what you care about, it's about the application and automation. At the end, you connect assets to be able to run an application, to be able to run things. You want to have visibility and security, and we want to have the flexibility to scale all of that. So at Cisco, we are very lucky. I'm sure this entire week online or in person, you have learned about the Cisco portfolio. And we are the only IT company that have been investing so much into industrial network to really complete our IT portfolio in the industrial networking side. And that's something we are very proud of. And what we are trying to do here is really make sure we provide a unified experience for our customer from the IT side, the campus network, all the way to the industrial network. So now you will tell me, well, we are into an innovation session. So what is it about? What is about innovation? Let me get there. And, when we talk about innovation, I found this amazing quote from Tom Freston, is the founder of MTV. And for some of you that might be with a lot of experience, you may remember that they used to have music, there used to be TV, and MTV took the TV and the music, putting them together to do those video clips that are now you see every day. That was innovation, taking two things and making them better together. So that's what we're going to try to do today. And instead of me telling you about that, I thought it would be amazing to have one of our customers to talk about what they do in their company. So please help me to welcome on stage Joseph Ozdemir. He is the manager of infrastructure delivery and mineral resources. Hi, Joseph.
Hello.
Welcome on stage.
Yes.
I'll leave you alone.
Sure.
Please tell us what you do. I know you have an amazing story, and I'll come back right after for a few questions for you.
No worries.
Okay,
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So some of you in the room may know or may have heard of Mineral Resources, but I know many of you online probably won't have. So Mineral Resources, the business has been around about 30 years. In that time, quite proudly, we've consistently seen 30% growth year on year through our business. Unfortunately, 30% becomes bigger and bigger and bigger every year. But what that's built us into is we're the world's largest crushing services contractor to other mining companies. That's the core of the business, our mining services. We are a very, very vertically integrated business where we have our 5 main pillars that all service each other, whether it's engineering and construction or mining services or catering. We run our own in-house GP. We do pretty much everything in-house that we can. But over that 30 years, that's built us into being a top 5 Australian iron ore producer. And more importantly today, and quite relevant to sustainability and decarbonisation, we produce over 29% of the world's hard rock lithium out of our 3 mines in Western Australia. We're also looking to expand and augment the business as part of our decarbonisation, where we are going to produce our own gas potentially and then supply all our own mines and look at some other opportunities downstream. So what that brings us into is some of the more innovative things that we're doing at Mineral Resources. The core of the business, as I said, is our crushing services, where we've got our new next-gen crushers. What that means is we can stand up crushers in a very short space of time, whether for us or whether for our customers. We've got our jumbo road trains. So we have a little bit of rail, but predominantly we truck nearly all of our product out using big quad road trains, 300 tonnes. And for our new Onslow Iron project, we're looking to automate those. And that one I find particularly interesting. Automation is not new to the mining industry, but predominantly it's been all around haul trucks, and I sort of see those as more automated products. They are able to follow instructions to go from A to B, and whilst these are obviously not too dissimilar, they're on a private road going from A to B, we've built a product that's able to run for a period of time without constant communications, which I think in this space especially is really innovative. And the last innovation that we've got on this slide is our transhippers. As part of our pit-to-port Onslow project, we've got our 20,000-tonne transhippers, and you can, I don't know if you spotted in the video right there, we've got some fairly fancy accommodation on board these as well, which leads me into the next slide. Whilst not 100% relevant to what we've got here, I want to talk about MinRes and what we're doing. And when we talk about skill shortage and attracting workforces, we're, as it says here, redefining the workplace experience, and we're not building mining camps anymore. We're building what we call resorts. So world-class accommodation for the people that are living and working on our sites, to make sure that all of these people working towards a sustainable future by producing lithium and getting that out there in the market, have the best facilities and the best place to live and work while they're on our sites. IT-OT convergence. So, it's an interesting topic because we've been talking about it for quite some time, but it's really come up more relevant in the last 5+ years. And personally, I find it really interesting because you go to a Digital Minds conference or you go and talk to vendor A, B, and C, not Cisco, and they'll say, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing AI, you need Industry 4.0, that's what you have to be doing. But I struggle to find too many resources, businesses that have actually gone, yeah, we've got digital twins and we're getting this value and we're doing this. And what I see is that there's a big gap in getting those foundational steps actually in place and up and running before, you've got to be able to walk before you can run. To be able to go and enable data to get to here, to build those machine learning models and make all of those things happen, you need to have your foundational cybersecurity principles and your patterns and your architectural models to be able to make and enable those things to happen before any of that happens. Because otherwise you get business customers that come to you and say, I want to reduce belt wear or detect belt cuts, but I've got a system that needs to talk to the cloud, and then you end up just having this whole back and forth about you can't do this, you can't do this. You've got to be prepared. That's where it has to absolutely start. Getting those fundamental patterns and knowing exactly why and how things need to be able to happen. And I think especially in mining businesses, and it doesn't really matter if you're in any business that runs OT, IT needs to spend more time with the business. They need to go out to site, they need to spend time in the factories, go and actually be down in the weeds and see what's going on and understand the context. Exactly as Samuel said, OT understands the why, IT knows the how. It has to be bridged that way by spending time together and understanding both worlds. But I don't think it's one size fits all. It's different in every business. As I mentioned sort of at the start, there's 5 main pillars to MinRes, and that makes it really difficult. We have 5 CEOs. I've got very, very different business requirements across them all. And having those conversations really early with your business stakeholders who are actually accountable, because that's to me what OT means. OT means accountability. Who owns that accountability and understanding where they actually want you to play. Some of the models that we've entertained at MinRes specifically is where there's an OT shared services component where each of the businesses have accountability for their OT functions, which is not just process control. We've got our logistical, the road trains that we run. We've got the fleet management systems. We've got our marine systems. In an ideal situation, those business owners would still hold that accountability, and then a technology business sits around it to avoid that duplication of skilled network and server and cyber resources. But, it's really about what fits your business. But I think having those discussions early on are really, really critical. And I think by having those foundations, you can get to a point where what IT and OT are doing when you look towards AI and ML and those sorts of components, we've been able to enable the business to take advantage of their data without the only part that we're doing is the plumbing in the middle. And I think that's a really, to me, that's where we should be aiming to get to try and enable all of those things to happen at scale. And the last bit is, how do you plan for the future? In businesses that change very quickly. At MinRes, we got a very short window of opportunity where we were told, we're acquiring a new asset, you need to take it over in a week. How do you deal with that? Where do you compromise? How do you decide on where you're going to draw the line in the sand in terms of, I'm okay with this risk or this risk or this risk. But ultimately, those are business risks. They're not technology risks to own. This slide is something I'm quite passionate about in OT specifically. there's a lot of talk and in mining in Western Australia, there's a lot of private mobile networks that are getting built. And for me, the constraint is actually the spectrum, not the technology. For example, if 2.4 gigahertz had another 50 channels and you could crank up the power on it, I don't think anyone would be building private mobile networks. But I think there is so much focus on the technology itself and whether should I build a Wi-Fi network or should I build a LoRaWAN network or a Wi-Fi network or whatever it may be. I think being able to look at all of the functions that you've got, the available spectrum that you've got, the investment that the business wants to make, and actually overlaying that and having flexibility in what spectrum you want to run. Wi-Fi in itself is not the constraint. It's physics, RF. You can't change physics. There's very little you can do about it. I think the other piece that's quite often overlooked in mining is the radios on the vehicle themselves. You can go and build, and it may be quite cost-effective to go and build a private mobile network versus a Wi-Fi network, but if the UEs are 5 times the price and you've got 500, 1,000 assets that all need UEs, they need to last for about 5 to 7 years. So for me, it comes down to almost spectrum and then UE, and that then drives what technology selection actually makes sense for that investment. Not every mining company, especially when you get down into the tier 2s and 3s, have a 30-year asset. It might be a 5-year mine or a 10-year mine where you're just not going to get your return on investment. But quite often the UEs tend to be after the fact. It's, we've decided we're building 5G, so let's find a 5G UE rather than looking the other way around. And looking at the UEs as well, I think there is untapped value in future in having edge compute on the UEs. Being able to do some inference on the edge and being able to get, pipes are only so big. You can't bring every set of data off every vehicle. Take a autonomous truck with a LiDAR on it. You can't pull all of those LiDAR points off. But if you could have a model that took that data, extracted what information you wanted and only sent that off board, then suddenly you've got a mapping of your whole pit. I think really looking at what goes on the vehicles is a really key part of everything that needs to be built. So this is a couple of views of a few things that we've done at MinRes. They're not particularly sexy or fancy, but we like to call it bringing the instrument to the boardroom. So this is a project where we collected process control data, sent it up to the cloud and visualized it in Grafana so that we could start to give leaders and executives information on the live running of their plants. And we've got quite a few. We've got the operating mines that we run, but then we've got another 20, 30 crushing operations that all produce data and everyone wants to understand the health of. And similarly, our current fleet, some information here of where we've been able to, again, extract data and then help visualize that for our internal customers. So how all that happens, it doesn't happen alone. We can't do it ourselves. So we've got fantastic technology partners like Cisco. So within MinRes, all of our process plants that run, whether it's lithium or iron ore or whichever we're running, all have for some time run the industrial switching platform, which surprised me. MinRes has made some interesting technology decisions over the years, but that one is one where they've seen the value from day one in having a reliable platform and something that's consistent and able to basically not give them any grief, which is fantastic. And that obviously is the industrial IoT team build more capability in that platform. It just enables us to take advantage of all of that. We don't have to go, we've got to rip this out and replace this to get... It's great. It is fantastic, and it's an exceptionally reliable platform for us. We're also deploying Cisco ultra-reliable wireless broadband. I'm sure it could have been a shorter name, but it's okay. We'll run with that. It's exactly what it is. It says what it is, which is great. So for our transshippers that I showed earlier in the piece, we had a requirement to be able to have critical process control comms between the transshipper and the land-based process control system. The team wanted to be able to press an e-stop on the transshipper. So this was a system that we could trust and we knew we could deploy, that would be able to give us confidence in wirelessly communicating to PLCs, which is fantastic. And then lastly, for our automated road trains, the initial deployment we're doing, there is going to be a 4G, 5G network that goes along the 170 kilometre road that we're doing. All the backhaul for that is the new IE9320s. So it's been fantastic in the 10 plus years I've been dealing with especially the Cisco industrial wireless portfolio, seeing the evolution of that and how we're starting to get, we are getting products that we need and are critical and important for all of the solutions that we're looking at. And then lastly, I think in the OT space, it's really important to understand the value of partners in this space. The Curb solution, for example, we knew of it, but we would have been unlikely to trust and deploy it and do it all off our own back, somewhat because of the compressed timeframes that we have. But being able to partner with Cisco and with a partner in Perth specifically, who deployed the technology from the Fluid Mesh days and understood the technology and were able to go, yes, this works for your use case, this is how we design it, this is how it needs to work, that absolutely sped up our deployment and how quickly we can get it to market, but also the trust in the deployment and knowing that it was going to deliver exactly what we needed. So I think having partners that specifically understand OT and bringing some of your IT people together and trying to get that context is really, really critical. If there's one takeaway from everything that I've rambled on about here, if you're in IT, go and spend time out in your business and go and sit on a truck, go and walk through a process plant, go and spend time on a boat, whatever it is, that is how we'll ultimately enable IT-OT convergence.
Thank you so much, Joseph. It was very interesting.
All right.
So, I have to tell you, you said something that I will have a hard time to get out of my mind. You said you're not building workplace, you're building resort.
We are.
I can tell you on Monday, I'm going to tell my team we are going to resort. We are not going to office
Come
anymore. Yeah, we'll come. But thank you so much. It was very interesting. I have one question for you, though. So you have been using the Cisco portfolio and going after some very interesting use cases and putting the networking platform, the security that we offer to solve your use. What's next for you? And if you were going to ask us for something, what do you think is the next challenge or next thing that you're going to go after, and how can we help you?
So from a technology perspective, you've got the bits. You've got the switches, the routers, the industrial wireless portfolio. You have the bits. I think the path that you're on to bring together the tooling is really critical and really important. That's really going to help us bridge the IT-OT piece. I think once everyone can be on consistent platforms and be able to visibly run things and see things, it'll start to build confidence in those platforms and IT running more of those platforms or vice versa. But ultimately, the technology is one part of it. The people and the process are really what's going to enable this. So I think if Cisco continue to do the good work that you're doing, producing the products that we need, but just be conscious that as customers, we may be a bit behind on the people and process piece and bringing our businesses along for the journey.
Well, thank you so much, Joseph. We will continue on the education and training and having you and other customers come and educating the rest of the audience. I think is fantastic. So Thank you so much. I would say one last thing. Last year, we've done a summit roadshow, mining summit, and you were greeting me with questions. And I thought I would, pay back and get you on stage. And I have to tell you, you've done a fantastic job. Right. So thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you so much for your trust. So obviously we are in innovation, and we are at Cisco Live, and you want to know, Joseph said how he used the Cisco product for innovation and mineral resources, but what are we doing at Cisco and in digital network? So for us, when we think about innovation, when my team think about innovation, we look at it from 3 different angles. There is obviously the hardware. We are a networking company. You come to us, you expect to get some networking equipment to connect those assets in some very remote and harsh environment. So we are innovating on that front. We are also innovating on the software side. Because when we talk about security, cybersecurity, obviously there's a lot of things that can be done in software. So it's a big element of our innovation. And last part that is super important for us is we want to de-risk your investment in technology, and we want to make it easy for you to deploy the technology to solve use case. And for that, we are building what we call Cisco Validated Design, where we take our product with third party, with partner and other product to test a solution and make sure we can deliver on the use case that you are looking for. So let's have a quick recap on what we have done in 2023. First, we launched the Catalyst IE9300, rack-mount product leveraging the same chipset, same operating system as what you find on the regular Catalyst 9K. So that's a fantastic product, ruggedized with a lot of different configurations, stackable, PoE, fiber, you name it, all of that is available for you. So that was one of the product lines that we launched this year. Second product line that we launched is the IE3100. So it's a small, compact, form factor, DIN rail mount, layer 2 switch. Running iOS 60 as well, feature packed. And once again, that's another product line that was launched this year in 2023. So I was very busy. But that was all wired. We have also been busy on the wireless side. And on the wireless side, we launched actually a brand new portfolio of industrial wireless. We launched the IW9167E and D and I. We launched the 9165D and E. So pretty much what it is for the technologies that Joseph mentioned, Cisco ultra reliable wireless backhaul to be able to do point-to-point, point-to-multi-point connectivity, as well as connectivity for assets on the move, like the hauling truck in a mining environment, or like an HGVs in the manufacturing settings. So that's what we have been doing in terms of the hardware. So 2 new switching product family and 2 new wireless, industrial wireless product family. So quite busy, and I want to thank all the engineering team for that. The next thing that we have done is around software. So in software, I've been talking to a lot of our customers this week at Cisco Live, and it's all about remote access. You have an infrastructure, and you want your partner, machine vendor, to be able to access the asset that is into your network. And that is challenging. I was talking to one customer this week. In one of the factory, they have 80 different cellular gateway for vendor to connect to the machine. This is unmanageable for them. So for that, we have created a solution that is called Cisco Secure Equipment Access that we've launched this year. And that is really enabling to do zero trust network access. And the way it works is very simple. You have a tiny piece of software running directly into your industrial network on your switches and router, and you have a cloud management platform. From the cloud, you establish session on where your vendor or third party can connect to. So if you have a vendor, you go to the cloud, that is the laptop, and you can click directly on the asset that you want to connect, and you can establish a session, which means you can establish VNC session, RDP session, telnet session, console session, even native application session. I can, for example, from the cloud, use my software to connect to a PLC that would be in my industrial network. The value for you or customer is that you have one cloud dashboard where you can define who has access to which machine. You can have log, you can schedule access, you can record sessions so you know what they are doing on your infrastructure, and you can monitor all of that. So that's one of the new software innovations that we've launched for our industrial customer to really help them to provide access to machine vendor inside their industrial network and allow IT to monitor and see who is doing what on their infrastructure. So super critical. Last but not the least, it's around the CVD. We are here in Melbourne, in Australia this year. I cannot be in Australia without talking about mining. So we've launched 2 new CVD for mining, open pit, and above ground and underground mining. We have launched validated design for remote access, for segmentation, for visibility into the different environment setting. We've also done some for offshore wind turbines. So a lot of investment going in that direction. So with that, I hope that session was interesting for you. It's all about how Cisco is investing to bring IT technology to work with our OT personnel and OT user in industrial network. We are committed to this space. We are investing a lot, and we hope for you continue to enjoy your portfolio. With that, I invite you to go online and check our portfolio or go in the World of Solutions to see it. Thank you, and let's go.
Hello there, I'm Sarah, a cybersecurity solutions specialist at Cisco. When we talk about cybersecurity, it's always about the protection. Protecting the network, the data center, and of course, protecting the users. So I'm going to talk about Cisco User Protection Suite, which provides protection against all attack vectors that are targeting the user, while providing secure and seamless access regardless of where they are, which device they are using, and which application they're accessing. Cisco Secure Access, just as its name, provides secure access to both internet and private applications. Cisco Duo, a secure multi-factor authentication or MFA, but it's not just an MFA. It provides way more than typical MFA by having offline logins and also risk-based analysis. Cisco Email Threat Defense provides a second layer of protection, catching whatever your primary email gateway failed to catch. Remember, it takes one malicious attack to breach your network, so you need to protect your users from all kinds of attack vectors. And what's a better solution than using our Cisco User Protection Suite?
And that's a wrap on all of the innovation talks for Cisco Live APJC 2023 Melbourne. My name is Emerald Williamson. I have been one of your hosts for the last 2 days on the online broadcast. I'm an account manager based in Sydney, and it's been so exciting to have been with you along this journey, learning about all the different technology, all the different innovations that we've had, and listening to the conversations around AI and sustainability. I'm joined here by my two hosts, Dave and Shika. Hi again.
Hi, Em, and yeah, welcome back to everyone. Wow, what a couple of days. That has just been a fantastic couple of days we've had here. So very much enjoyed. I think the energy's still buzzing. Feel like I'm running on a bit of a high. Just need to come back down to earth, but very much enjoyable couple of days.
And all the studio interviews, I think that they were really good. Got some really good feedback online on hashtag Cisco Live APJC. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, there's just been so much going on for the last 2 days, and I can't believe the broadcast almost coming to an end.
I know. I think it's, as you said, we still have a lot of energy there. There's a lot of excitement in the room, and I think it's probably the same or similar to a sugar rush, but I would say it's probably a Cisco rush.
Yeah. Well done.
But in saying that, I think it would be great to recap, what we've seen from today. Shika, what was your highlight from day 2?
From day 2, I think I'm going to be very generic, basic, and be like Jeetu's interview. I know a lot of people were looking forward to it, and we did call it out, but takeaways from security, collaboration. He hasn't tried Vegemite. Maybe we need to bring that next time around. I think
for someone who's actually sponsoring ANZ as a country, I feel like that is definitely a rite of passage. And Kevin the Koala would 100% agree.
Yes, and that, and maybe fairy bread, if we can just bring that on, because yeah. And talking about Kevin the Koala, we've actually had almost 100 koalas being adopted.
Wow.
That's incredible. All the proceedings are going to WWF, to their wildlife, so that they can help endangered koalas. So thank you, everyone. You can still adopt, everyone who is still coming tomorrow, so you still have some chances to adopt the koalas. We want to get to 100. We're almost there, so thank you so much for supporting our charity partner.
And Kevin Koala also thanks us as well.
Thank you, Kevin the Koala.
Thank you for being on
He's
set.
He's been a very quiet host, but he has said a lot without saying anything.
He's been adopted by us, so I think that's
I think that's fair. What about you, Dave? What has been your highlight for day 2?
For me, it'll be the interview as well. It's more specifically the interview with Ileana, our VP of IT, Cisco IT, which is incredible. She's basically, her and her team are responsible for the making our workplace the best workplace to work for. So I think it was really, really cool to hear about everything that she's been doing, everything she's working on, and the new innovations they're bringing out was very cool. But more importantly, I was had the pleasure, the opportunity today to run around the world of solutions again, and man, that is just a ball of energy and fun in there. So everyone's got their activations, lots of fun and games. You can't. It's jam packed in there. You just can't.
There's so much to do. I try to go there in my break of 10 minutes. I'm like, nah, this is too. It's so many stands and so much to learn, and from all our partners who have their stands and booths and running into customers. It's just amazing to have everyone in the same space.
That's just it, running into the door. You can't turn any corner without running into someone you don't, someone you know. So
exactly.
it was a lot of fun.
That's the power of Cisco.
Yeah, I think for me, I had one interview today, and that was Tim Seghetti, and I've been really excited to have that conversation with him because it was only recently that I found out about Outshift. And, you know, for an organisation that's as big as Cisco, I think one thing that we tend to forget is that startup culture atmosphere and the fact that we have a small team here who's actually, you know, embedded and is committed to finding new innovations and hearing from customers and brainstorming out and, you know, working towards those solutions is fantastic. And to hear that, you know, here's 37 patents, you know, that's crazy.
He also gave you a bit of a driving lesson, I heard.
Off-roading.
Out of the fact that I can't drive manual yet. No, that's brilliant. But, you know, I think we've had so much time as well from day one and day two. It would be amiss to think about, you know, what our highlights were from day 1 and 2 as overall.
Yes.
So maybe, Shika, what would you say?
Yeah, I think in terms of the highlights, it's just been a lot that's going on. I do have a game. Maybe we'll do it a bit later. But for our host, and I want to say thank you to you guys. It feels like chatting to friends, to be honest, but it's also like so powerful messaging and all the interviewees that we had, and it's been so personal, and I hope everyone at home felt the same, and Cisco's community and then the giving back, I think, it's amazing. And a lot of the iTalk, one of the iTalks today, again, Larissa's iTalk, I think that was really good as well, because again, I'm a bit biased towards collaboration, but her iTalk also stood out quite a lot to me. Dave, any of the iTalks? Did you from yesterday or today?
The particular iTalk today that I like was the crisis response. I think that one's really quite cool to hear from. There was so much going on. I think I sort of broke down the 3 things that I sort of took away from this whole experience. I mean, doing this alone itself is an experience in itself, but. For me, obviously, the announcement of Cisco's purpose report was, and the findings from that, 1.1 billion people impacted is just incredible. The relevance of the sustainability message actually with my customers as well. So actually having the conversation out there and how we're making that easier for our customers to understand and help them achieve their sustainability goals. And then number 3 takeaway, that the letters AI were mentioned 2,368 times in total across the on air across this entire conference. So
wow. Really? We could have got.
We are rich.
We are rich. If we did $1 every time, we would have been rich. Yeah.
Oh my God, we need another 6 days of this. I really want. We could do a really luxe experience in Melbourne.
We could adopt a lot of koalas. With
exactly.
Yeah.
I think something that actually stood out to me and was told by our producer backstage is that, you know, we've actually pledged $150,000 as part of our partnership to WWF to look at deforestation and help with our technology piece there. But I think even that progress report, I think, has been the highlight for me. The fact that we were able to talk about it in that keynote piece on air, and then it actually being released overnight and seeing the impact that we've had to 1.1 billion people is fantastic. And seeing that it's all across, you know, nature, the environment, through Network Academy for learning, as well as all of these communities that were actually in there and helping with their projects is absolutely great.
I think we take 1.1 billion, like we've said it like a few times since morning, but that's 1.1 billion. That's like a lot. And it's just the impact, thinking the impact of what Cisco has made as a whole, that's incredible to even imagine. It's beyond, So I think another thing, maybe we should do the put a finger down broadcast host edition. What do you think? Because that was all over TikTok earlier, and I was like, I prepared a few questions for us so that we can play a little game.
Yeah, let's do it.
Put a finger down.
Oh, wait, you've got to
host
explain how this works, because I'm not really on TikTok.
Okay.
So this is something...
Okay, that's fine.
You for me too, yeah.
Okay, so essentially, like, we put our fingers up. So it's like we have our hand up, so we're like 5 fingers. And I'm going to say the question. If you've done it, you put your finger down.
Okay.
And whoever puts all 5 down first is kind of like the winner. So it's a little game, a little fun thing to end with. Hopefully everyone watching enjoyed the broadcast with us. Let us know how it was and join in the conversation at #Cisco Live APJC. Okay, are you guys ready? Dave,
Ready.
Okay, cool. Put a finger down, broadcast host edition. Understood all the technical terms coming out of an iTalk.
Oh my God. I have to say, there were so many different iTalks. And there was technology and new acquisitions that I wasn't even aware that we'd made up until recently. So I comfortably can put my hand up.
Yeah, and I think some of them were definitely very specific to certain technologies. I'm sure a lot of our engineers back home would have enjoyed it. But again, for us, I understood most of the collaboration ones, but the other ones...
Some of my engineering customers here, though, they loved it.
They loved
were
it.
raving about the iTalk, so
yeah,
I think...
maybe they would have definitely put... Yeah.
Oh, wait, Shika, Dave, can I add one? Because I think this is our host broadcast game. Put a finger down if your earpiece has stopped working during the broadcast.
Day one, segment 1.
Yeah. That's really difficult.
Okay. Next one. Said AI more than 10 times. Over 2 days.
Easily.
Definitely. I think this should be 50. This should be 50. Okay. Starstruck by one of the interviewers.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Who was yours, actually, Dave?
I was actually starstruck by, funny enough, Ileana.
Oh, yeah.
That interview
She's
really...
so cool, like her personality.
Yeah, very, very cool, yeah.
Jitu and Larissa, definitely, both of them were amazing. And then Dave, I know you interviewed him, but when he came on set, he has this really
I'm quite powerful.
Yeah, Dave West.
Dave West, still a DW.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think it was also G2 as well. I think, I could see him from where I was sitting. And one, where does he get his glasses from?
I know, they're so
brilliant.
cool. They're so cool.
And I think, too, Dave as well, but only because G2 and Dave come with an entire crew of people around them as well. And I feel like that's part of the intimidation. That's part of the intimidating experience.
Yeah, definitely. They have, Anyway, okay, moving on. Forgot to turn the mic off, and when we went off stage...
I'm also guilty of that.
Okay.
I'm not. Actually, so we're all connected as well sometimes. So yeah. We can confidently say that was definitely Dave.
Got to know each other on a whole new level.
Yes. Okay. Spent an hour on the hair and makeup chair.
It's only an hour.
Sorry, I don't come like this straight out of bed.
Exactly.
This is completely. This is our makeup artists
are
very much love. They put a lot of love into this.
Okay. Worked with the best crew for this production. I want to put all my fingers down because everyone's been amazing. Okay.
And I think this is a great opportunity to thank pretty much all of the people that have gone in the back end to help make this work. So one, to my lovely hosts who've been able to, having conversation with. It's so much easier having other people here. 2, to the camera crew. 3, to the production team as well, who are sitting in the back and making sure that all of our cues are correct and all of that as well.
We're just the faces. They're a big team.
Yeah.
And a lot of work that goes on behind camera.
And also a really big thank you to everyone who's watching, because it's not without your support that we're able to do this, and I hope that we've been able to provide you and help guide you through a really, really valuable and big learning experience through all the Cisco period. So Shika, actually have to ask, do we have a video coming up? I think there was a couple of things.
Yes, I think we do have a video coming up for all the tech enthusiasts, actually.
Oh, fantastic.
So I think we're handing over to the Cisco Insider advocacy booth at the hub. So we're gonna hand it over to Yang for the video.
Brilliant. Is that ready to go?
It is ready to go. So over to the video.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ying Ho. I lead customer marketing from APJC region. Here I am right now at the Cisco Insider Advocacy booth in Cisco Live Melbourne, located at the hub, sitting next right to the World of Solution, where we are showcasing the latest technology. Within our Cisco Insider Advocacy booth, we have great content showcasing as well. We are featuring our latest and the greatest customer story, and at the same time, we are also introducing to you our award-winning Cisco Insider Advocacy Community Program. So come find us at the hub, learn more about our customer reference program, and let's have a conversation to explore how we can create great story through your Cisco experience with us. Now, for those of you who are not yet familiar with Cisco Insider Advocacy Program, let me give you a little bit more details here. Cisco Insider Advocacy, or CIA in short, is an online community channel. Today, we have more than 4,000 Cisco customers who have signed up as our advocates. On a regular basis, they are performing a list of act of advocacy activities to evangelize on Cisco. Advocates in this program gets an exclusive opportunity to network with advocates around the world, virtually and in-person events such as Cisco Live Melbourne. And at the same time, they also get an opportunity to position themselves as thought leaders in the industry. As they engage on advocacy activities with Cisco, they earn rewards points and they can get to redeem for exciting gifts. And today, I'm very pleased to be joined by our 3 distinguished Cisco advocates to share their great experience on being our advocates. Welcome, Daniel, Peter, and Simon.
Hi.
Shall we get started with a quick introduction of yourself? Maybe we get started with Daniel first.
Yeah, I'm Daniel. I'm Head of Technical Sales for NEC Australia.
Yourself, Peter?
Hello, I'm Peter McKenzie and I'm a cybersecurity instructor at Chisholm Institute of Technology.
And Simon?
Hi, I'm Simon Robinson. I am a network engineer and trainer for Go Wireless New Zealand.
All right, back to you, Daniel. I know that you are one of the pioneer of our Cisco advocates. How long have you been with us?
I've been almost 4 years now. So it was actually Cisco Live in 2019 that I joined up. So quite a while now.
Wow, that's quite a milestone, 4 years. Can you tell us a little bit more? What excites you to stay in this community with us for 4 years?
Yeah, I think overall I found it a really good way to stay across different technologies. The way you guys present it is in bite-sized chunks, so it's really easy to consume. And the way you mix in some unique experiences and access to different technologies and pre-briefings before products are launched, it's been an awesome program to be a part of.
Right. Thanks for the sharing. Maybe now, Peter, let's go to you. Thank you again for being our loyal Cisco advocates. Can you share also how long have you been with us?
A bit like Daniel, I joined up when this Insider started in Australia at Cisco Live in Melbourne, 2019. And what really motivated me was how they looked after us during COVID. They had the yoga exercises and all sorts of things that we could do because we're all staying at home, and it was a pretty tough time for us in Melbourne, Australia, probably the most lockdown capital of the world. And so the Insiders, had all of these sort of activities that we could sort of do, and that really helped because we could only go 5 kilometres from our house. And so just doing some of those things were really good.
And let's go to Simon. I know that you are one of the newcomer to our Cisco advocacy community. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the big family.
Thanks for having me.
Let us know what makes you want to join us as a advocate.
Yeah, so as a Cisco partner and customer, we get invited to a lot of Cisco programs, and I received an email from Cisco Insider kind of mentioning the programs. I was like, it's just another one. I might as well sign up and see what it's about. And then not long after logging in, kind of what Peter was saying, and what Daniel was saying as well, the amount of content that was available. I'm a bit of a content hog. Like I like reading a whole bunch of stuff, whether it be case studies or examples of use cases, or just fun things like talking about your pets and things like that with esteemed colleagues like Peter and Daniel here. So lots of fun. So logged in and whet my appetite, and haven't looked back since.
Thank you for joining us, and I hope you will have a wonderful journey ahead of you as our Cisco advocates. Maybe let's get back to Daniel. Since you are one of our pioneers, definitely I would like to know what are your advice for someone who is keen to join as a Cisco advocate? What would you tell them?
I'd say do it and get involved as much as possible. It's one of those programs where the more you commit to it, new opportunities will present. Even like what we're doing now, it's something that you might not normally have access to doing, a new experience. Through the program, I got to meet an F1 driver. I got to go over to Vegas and see technologies over there, the HoloLens over there, or the Holo WebEx, and what Cisco were doing with NASA. So it's just one of those things. The more you put into it, the more you'll get out of the program.
So Daniel, 4 years with Cisco, I'm just curious to know that before you joined us as an advocate and after becoming an advocate, was there any perception or expectation change about Cisco?
I think just the vast amount of things you do. What we see and hear in Australia is much smaller than what's overseas. So it really opened my eyes when I went overseas and just saw how vast Cisco is. Like Vegas Live was probably, this hall was 6 to 10 times the size. It was huge. You needed 2 weeks there, not a couple of days to explore everything there. So yeah, that would be my change in perception.
Thank you, Daniel. Maybe let's move to Peter then. Peter, I know along the years we do have a lot of advocacy activities, with our advocates. Can you share with us what are some of the most memorable or exciting activities that you like about this community?
So, as Daniel was saying, I'm still a member of the CLN, I'm VIP there. But one of the things that's different from the CLN network to the Insider Advocates is that, as Daniel was saying, you get insider people coming along and telling you about things. You get, don't tell anyone, this is on the quiet, this is going to happen soon. And so you get previews of exciting new technologies that are happening. Yeah. You get fun games and stuff. So it's not all serious, but you can do fun things on there as well, like the activities for it at Cisco Live. You can sort of download interactive activities and get some points.
You're right. Being an
advocate,
one of the advantages is really the exclusive preview of the new technologies or innovation that's coming up.
That's it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So moving forward, moving forward. What are some of the other expectation or hope you should achieve from joining this program?
Well, I'm hoping to get some more information about some of the exciting things we learned about today, like the identity, Cisco Secure Analytics. I think because they introduce all of these products, the AI, but it's very good. They say, this is what we're doing, but there's no sort of background, there's no details, there's no how you do it sort of thing. They just say, this is what we're doing. And so in the inside, as you get more details, you get sort of how you can actually access these things, and you get people who can tell you about who are actually using it.
Thank you. That's actually a great feedback. I'll definitely bring back to the relevant authority and our teammates to see how we can improve this moving forward. And let's move to Simon. So the questions to you is more like being a newcomer as our new advocate. What are the first thing that strikes you when you saw this advocacy program, and what makes you want to join us?
I think it was a couple of things. The first would be like the breadth of knowledge available on the Insiders program. So just logging in, seeing all the different challenges available, whether it be sustainability, which I'm particularly interested in, security, WebEx, just general networking, and even just general fun challenges. So there's always something for anyone. So you can kind of, if you've got particular interests, there's always something there to view on the homepage. And another thing would be just the friendliness of the community. So, advocates like yourselves, and recently CX and I worked on a challenge where they mentioned me, and the amount of LinkedIn posts and comments and feedback from just people, globally, it was super humbling and really appreciative, and just everyone's so nice, and as a New Zealander, it's quite nice to see.
And I'm sure you are already making friends with Daniel and also Peter in Cisco Live Melbourne.
We'll see how the dinner goes. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So I think we have come to the end of the short conversation. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time to be with us today and share with us your great experience.
Pleasure.
I hope that you have the rest of the great day ahead and do enjoy Cisco Live Melbourne for the rest of the week.
And
Thank
the
you.
other thing is we've got a nice dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, let's do that. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Now our session has come to an end, but I hope this is a mark of a new beginning to your journey to become Cisco customer reference and our Cisco advocates. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you and have a nice day.
I have to say it's such a great program, and I think it's a real mark of success when your customer's willing to go out and tell other people about the experience that they have with Cisco. And that peer-to-peer learning, I think, is really important. So some of our customers who've had great Meraki implementations are actually going to talk to some of my other customers who are considering it. So it's really the spirit of Cisco to learn. But the word advocate, I think, is a really strong phrase. And we were just chatting as well earlier today about how there were certain phrases and keywords that we've really taken away from Cisco Live. And I thought we might share a couple of those with you today. Perhaps, Dave, did you want to share your strong, passionate words that you've discovered from here?
Yeah, so mine's more sort of a holistic sort of approach around our security suite and what sort of G2 had made mention of around how with security threats, as a defender, you need to get it right sort of every time, but as an attacker, you only need to get it right once. And so what's that's done is that's allowed us to reimagine our sort of whole cybersecurity portfolio, make it simpler for our customers with the likes of our security cloud and security suite, and put those security suites in so it is simpler for our customers to understand, simpler to understand our whole portfolio of security solutions as well. So.
Yeah, and I think adding on to that, the simplicity piece, because the security AI assistant that was announced in the keynote yesterday, that's actually simplifying it for our engineers and kind of taking out all of the manual work, but doing it like securely as well. So again, using AI. So definitely that was something that stood out. Yeah.
I think because the mention of the AI SOC assistant, and I thought we were going to get us to draw what the AI SOC was going to look like, but that unfortunately never came up to this week. But that's all right.
Yeah, we had too much to chat about, I think, at that point, and also we don't have enough art material here. I want the opportunity to really, really design something, especially if we're going to have, Dave West or G2 on stage. We've got to present something that's quality work.
Maybe we need a WebEx board here and have a whiteboard, and then have them whiteboard one of those logos. I think another one that stood out from today's segment of Women of Cisco, hearing Jackie, Gloria, and Gavin, importance of allyship. Because obviously, again, coming back to the giving back and the community part of Cisco, and we have our inclusive communities, and there are so many out there, and people feel supported. And as part of Women of Cisco, and I'm sure you talked about, because you talked a bit before throwing to the session, and what Jackie really called out around, if you're a woman or an ally, then if you know another fabulous woman, have them come into Cisco. I think that really stood out. And Jackie's energy, it's just electrifying. It's contagious. I used this word yesterday as well. And hearing her speak, and Gloria's experience as well, and Gavin talking about importance of allyship, I think that was an incredible session. And I remember watching it in the production room with other people around, and everyone was like, "She's great," and what they talked about on the panel, it just resonated with everyone on backstage. And I met some friends later, and then everyone loved that session. I think that was really. Yeah, just stood out.
It was probably the first time it was really quiet, because I think we were all intently listening to her story.
Yeah, watching it all. I had the pleasure to speak with Jackie in an interview yesterday, and it was just the sort of presence that she has when she enters. It's just it is energetic, but it's also just, as you said, you sort of sit there I guess we use a little bit starstruck again.
For me, I think it was around that user experience, and actually it's really important that we're listening to our customers and letting them actually build out what's important for them. And actually our DevNet community turns 10 this year.
Wow, happy 10-year anniversary to DevNet community.
Exactly, and I think we actually have a video that we're going to show right now about the DevNet community, so let's head over to that.
Hi, I'm Paul Zimmerman. We're in the DevNet zone here at Cisco Live Melbourne, and we're celebrating DevNet's 10-year anniversary. We have a great crowd of our DevNet folks behind us with our partners, customers, and developers, and we're having a great time. I would like to introduce my first guest here, Shannon McFarland, who is our VP of DevNet. Welcome, Shannon.
Hey, thanks for having me, Paul.
My pleasure. You've been part of the DevNet crew for a long time before you joined us. Tell me a little bit about your experience in the past and how it feels to be part of the crew now.
Absolutely, yeah. So I've had a lot of talks at DevNet over the years around each of the geos. So I've covered stuff from OpenStack to GitHub to Python to all kinds of different, other technologies in different geos. And so now that I'm a formal member of the DevNet crew, not just a participant on the speaking side, I am thrilled to be here. It's just really great to see all of the passion that all of the developers have within our ecosystem and how they learn and how they consume our products programmatically. And it's just really great to see firsthand as an insider of DevNet how all that works and the passion that they have.
That's awesome. We're really glad to have you part of the team as well. And we've been DevNet 10 years now. It's crazy. What do you see coming in the future for DevNet?
Yeah, I think that we're going to continue doing what DevNet has done. It's a winning formula that we have, which is, the education and enablement of folks with DevOps and application development against Cisco's product sets. But I think that we also have an opportunity to really have a lot of thought leadership and technical leadership in areas where we're looking at maybe APIs against new technology trends. So things like APIs for artificial intelligence, APIs for sustainability. I think these are all areas that are ripe for innovation. People are going to utilize APIs to interact with them from a scale, from a security point of view, and certainly from a way to obtain better observability of what takes place against those technologies. And so I'm excited about continuing what's winning and adding even more technology capabilities and helping our customers understand how to programmatically interact and build solutions on top of Cisco stuff.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Shannon. Again, glad to have you on the team and leading us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the party.
Excellent. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate it.
For my next guest from Cisco Learning and Certifications, I'd like to bring up Kareem Iskander. Hello, Kareem. Welcome.
Hey, Paulie. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So Cisco used a new thing from Cisco Learning and Certifications. I know there's a bunch of stuff for developers there. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, so Cisco U is Learning and Certifications' latest product. It's a learning experience that we just recently released. Check it out at u.cisco.com. Cisco U is essentially a learning platform that has a lot of content, Cisco and adjacent technology, but specifically for DevNet, we have a bunch of content around automation, around security, as well as some cloud content that we collaborate with adjacent technologies to bring in and provide our learner that entire solution in one place.
That's awesome. Developers need to keep learning all the time, and so that's great that you guys are doing all that stuff.
Yeah.
And as everyone knows, Cisco U also, or Learning and Certifications also supports the DevNet certifications as well.
Yeah, for
what's
sure.
going on with those?
Yeah, so our DevNet certifications, our DevNet certified community is going strong. We have all of the content that you will need in order to successfully complete your certification exam, from a DevNet Associate, DevCore, EN Automation, and everything that we came up with here in DevNet the training is available in Cisco U. We've also have released about a year or 2 years ago our DevNet Expert exam, and this is like the the destination where you want to get to as a DevNetter.
Yeah,
so
it's a tough one.
Within learning and certification, we have a lot of content as well as labs that will get you prepared for the DevNet Expert exams.
Kareem, thank you for joining me. I look forward to more collaboration between Cisco Learning and Certifications and DevNet, and I really appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul, and happy anniversary, DevNet.
All right, next I'd like to bring up a member of our DevNet community, APJC.
Thank you so much, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good as well. It's pretty exciting to see DevNet completing 10 years of anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to our celebration here.
So much.
I understand this is your first DevNet zone?
Oh, yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Excellent. But I must say congratulations. We talked to Kareem about the certifications. You are a DevNet expert, which is a very rare thing to be. Tell me a little bit about how you went about learning that and how the exam went for you.
Oh, yeah. If I speak about the experience that I had with DevNet Expert, it's been a tough journey, of course. Currently, I must say that it's one of the most difficult certifications to crack. I started my journey back in 11 years ago. I'm also a traditional routing and switching guy. But ever since the SDN solution came up into the evolution, we started dealing with solutions like SD-WAN and SD-Access and all of that. And then DevNet came in. With DevNet, we started looking for ways how we can automate our networks and how the provisioning of large-scale enterprise networks can be automated in a way to save a lot of time and a lot of manual ways. So when I started preparing first, ever since DevNet came into existence, I started my DevNet associate preparations. So I also happen to be class of 2020.
Nice.
And then I continued my education and my effort towards becoming the professional. And then after 4 attempts of my exam, I became a Cisco Certified DevNet Expert. I'm proud to be that.
Oh, and we're proud that you did that. It's very, very, very well done for sure. How do you plan to use the skills that you've learned becoming a developer, using DevNet, doing through the certifications? How do you plan to use those skills as you move forward in your life?
Well, being an instructor, I usually deliver trainings on DevNet and a lot of other solutions that Cisco caters. When I started to deliver trainings on DevNet, it was just DevNet Associate and Professional. But I interact with a lot of network engineers who happen to work with a lot of solutions that I have. For example, let's say I deal with network engineers who deals with SD-WAN solution. So their daily job is to, you can say, onboard new sites and then provision day 1, day 2 operations on them. So they use the manual way of communicating with the controllers or the devices directly. But when I interact with them and when they enroll for some of my courses, then I deliver them knowledge of how they can communicate with the devices and the controllers programmatically to save time in doing the repetitive work that they do without programmability. So when I do preach them about automation, well, it always happens that after a month or 2 months or even 6 months after, some of the participants do reach out to me that, hey, you saved a lot of our manual hours and cost as well. So implementing DevNet definitely helps, if not me directly in my production environment because I'm an instructor, but for them, it really helps them to optimize their network and save costs.
That's really great to hear. Yeah. I'm glad that it's really working for you and that you're helping people learn how to be developers.
Of course, yeah.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your time here at Cisco Live and
likewise,
in the DevNet Zone.
Likewise. Congratulations for DevNet to completing 10 years again. Yeah.
Awesome.
It was nice meeting you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here at the DevNet Zone at Cisco Live Melbourne. Now back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much. I do have to say, DevNet are the most excitable, passionate people. I was really excited watching. Yeah. I think that was the best back to the studio. I'm like, okay, we needed you on day 1 with all of that energy. No, I think going back to that piece, and I think it's, you know, the DevNet community is a really great example of, you know, that key phrase that I've taken away from Cisco Live, which is around that user experience. I think it's come through pretty much all of our interviews. So going back to even Larissa, who started it off on day 1, first interview out of the bat, she was talking about how we're actually taking, you know, what our customers are using and like the use cases around, you know, agent burnout around the contact centers, and designing our products to suit them. And I think that was really important. And then going throughout the day, you could see that every time we make a product development, we make an innovation, it's not for us necessarily, but it's to make our customers' lives easier. So even with Tim, all of his innovations are based on that.
I was going to say, yeah, the conversation piece with Tim was just an example of that. Like, look at the customer's problem first, and then go, all right, let's solve it. How are we going to solve this with what we have, or what we can develop? So, yeah.
Well, even distance zero, I think, is something that was pointed out. It's been said a couple of times, and I think it really ties into that overall theme. Because, you know, distance zero, for those who may be joining us for the first time, is a concept that we've been using across our hybrid work portfolio, which essentially means that, you know, whether you and I are sitting across in an online experience like this, or if I'm sitting at the desk with Dave and Chika, it should feel like we're all in the same room, all at the same time, which I think, and Chika, you may have to correct me on this since you're in collab, it's the experience of, you know, our audio reaching always at the same time.
Yes, yeah, with the new audio codec that was announced, I think, and what Larissa, again, coming back to her, because hybrid work is here to stay, right? And then obviously, especially execs, and for us, we're taking calls when we're in the car, we're in tunnels and things. So with the newer audio codec, we're going to get crystal clear audio irrespective of the bandwidth. So that's a very strong message. It's, I think Jeetu said it's 16 times better than the existing codec. And that's just incredible. I think that's an industry first. So definitely. Quickly, wanted to do some housekeeping as well. Thank you everyone who has joined in so far. Please join the conversation on hashtag Cisco Live APJC. And also we have video on demand available from 20th of December. So last question. So is there anything that you're taking home from Cisco Live in general? Any key takeaways? I'll start first, actually. So I don't know, maybe I should keep Kevin the koala. He really wants to go with me. And I think just tying into the sustainability message and everything that has been done in terms of sustainability at this event right now, and all the iTalks, Denise's, and I think all the interviews we had, there was an element of sustainability added to that. And then the purpose report came out. You touched on that in the morning. And I think sustainability as a whole, it's not, again, it's not it's a priority, but it's more like a necessity now. And that's how Cisco wants to support our customers to reach their net zero goals as well, in terms of the devices, if you're doing, or everything, all our products, unify them together and send a strong message. What were your key what are you taking home, Dave?
I'm just confirming, you're taking the koala, you're taking Kevin home. Is that what you said?
We'll have a chat later.
I think that's a good spot for Kevin. I don't think he does well on flights, so he can't come home with me in Sydney.
Okay, yeah, so it has to be Melbourne, but yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I'll keep on your theme. I'm taking away all the merch that I've picked up. World Solutions. Make sure you get back here next year, because there's a ton of merch out there. I think I've got a 1,000 Eyes T-shirt. I've got my Cisco T-shirt. We've got the sustainability bag. We've got the drink bottle. I think I got a little WebEx kit for home now as well.
Yeah.
So no, definitely the main takeaway for me here is to basically, how can I book my customers their tickets as early as possible, because I want to get them all back here next year to feel this energy and excitement in the room. So if we can fill it up next year, it'll be even bigger and better than ever, I'm sure. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. I have to follow you around the world of solutions. I think I just got this bottle, which means that I'm not doing Cisco Live well enough then. For me, it's the thought leadership. It's around these concepts that, you know, I hadn't considered before. You know, even talking to Ileana before around, you know, the office now and hybrid work is not about making the office a better space, just on the technology space, but making it a place that you want to go to, and reframing my thought process around that. It's going to make it really easy to talk to my customers about the same thing. So in saying that, you know, other than taking home, I'm going to take all of these memories with me, and I think we should do another big thank you again. Dave, who do you want to thank?
I want to thank this whole production and studio, and just thank the team who gave us this opportunity to be here, and to give this opportunity to be here, and to speak to all you and broadcast this out to you all your viewers out there. It's really made my day. So.
And the audience, thank you for being here, and thank you for joining us. And if you weren't here, we wouldn't be doing this. And thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you next year again.
No, absolutely. But before we go, we should do one more Let's Go, and then we'll have a bit of a chat about what you might see next. But let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's go! So we're going to the highlights video. Goodbye, good night, see you next year.